And welcome into Smuggler's Notch here in Jeffersonville, Vermont. The World Championships are underway, round one tomorrow. Now joined here for the press conference, Jeff Spring. Jeff, you're born here. You were a Jeffersonville man. Talk to us about the growth of disc golf in this area.
I've lived in the Jeffersonville area for about 12 years, but I was born in central Vermont, officially, Brian. But the growth of disc golf in Vermont has been similar to anywhere in the U.S., probably the world. It's been quite accelerated over the past 3 years since the pandemic, and pretty strong otherwise. I started playing in this area around 2008, and I think there were like 30 PDGA members in Vermont at that time. Now there's several hundred, and Vermont only has a population of 600,000 people. So that's pretty good. And per capita, I think Vermont is in the top 10 per courses. But the course growth has been tremendous. I know that the Disc Golf Center here at Smugglers has created a lot of buzz throughout the past 8 years, really, since we joined the Pro Tour, had the first World Championship. We hosted Pro Masters Worlds in 2019. So it's been great to be a part of.
Well, it seems like we've been talking about this particular World Championship for quite some time, and I know you've been very excited for this week to come.
Yeah.
Talk about the prep. How many man hours? How long has it taken to get this place ready?
Yeah, an enormous amount of time for sure. The Smuggler's Notch Disc Golf Center and their staff keep this place in immaculate shape all year round. The season in Vermont comes after ski season, so it's abbreviated. Really starts in early May and runs through early November. And during that time, it's a lot of work to deal with, snow melt, water issues. This year, unfortunately, we've seen a record amount of flooding and water in the state. We July, I think like 10th through 12th, experienced debilitating flood for many Vermont communities, and we're raising money here at the World Championship to support some flood relief efforts. And the course has not been easy to manage because of that. Brewster Ridge is permitted around some wetland areas and buffers, so generally has some tough wet areas. We found areas that have never been wet that are saturated, the ground saturated. So it's taken extra time this year, but the staff, our staff, and the entire Smuggler's Notch Resort Village Services Operations Administration have doubled their efforts to make sure that the course is in pristine condition. And I'm doing my final Brewster walk just to see if anything else sprung up. But I think, hundreds of yards of wood chips and hay and material onto the course to make it as solid as possible.
Well, Jeff, thank you so much. Here's Zoe Andyke for just a few more.
Hi, Jeff, and welcome back to Smugs. I want to have you first just kind of talk a little bit about the decision-making behind hosting a secondary World Championships here, and how much of a part of that were you?
Well, I'm the TD. I put in the bid. So, as tournament director, I feel I'm probably a central part of the event and bringing it back. Smuggler's Notch, the owner, Bill Stritzler, and the administration always welcome events, to the Disc Golf Center. They run an A-tier that, we started back in 2012 called the Brewster Ridge Open, and now it brings in a lot of guest nights. They host the Vermont State Championships this year. Always looking to host events and bring people to the Disc Golf Center, and they keep showing up with more support, more investment in the Disc Golf Center. So when we talked to them about another major, they were thrilled, and they would probably be thrilled if we bring something else back here. I know that Bill is proud that Smuggler's Notch is America's family resort, great for kids and families, and he has ambitions of bringing junior worlds here eventually. And so I think the PDGA recognized that this is probably one of the great assets of the sport in terms of hosting big events and majors. So they're also very encouraging and encourage us to put bids in when we have the bandwidth. So I anticipate many more majors here over the next 20, 30 years if all goes well.
So it sounds like kind of a collective motivation to bring it back to a fitting type of property.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk about how there's 13 countries represented this weekend, or throughout this week. How does that compare to 2018, or does that match the goals that you guys set for the countries represented here?
We didn't set goals for the amount of countries represented. We know that Worlds is going to attract, the best players from whatever country they're from. I know that Manabu's here from Japan, and he's just played D-Glow. We're excited to have Japan represented and see the Parade of Nations tonight at the opening ceremony, which is a traditional part of the celebration. But global disc golf, international disc golf is growing. We've covered, I think 9 events this year in Europe, and it's incredible to see the spectators that come out in Scandinavia and watch the growth everywhere. I think that if you look at the demographics and the growth, the U.S. is not growing as fast as many places that are trying to catch up.
All right, just one more question for you about the general spectator tickets and where people can buy them. Are there any left? What does it get them?
Yeah, so we have general admission tickets, we have VIP tickets, and we have a special gold and silver ticket. All VIP and gold and silver are sold out, other than I think maybe a few on like Wednesday and Thursday. And general admission is close to selling out on the weekend. So we anticipate 2,500 people, which is really the max that we can host at Fox on the weekend. And we are close to selling out. So you can, go to the Eventbrite ticketing site, linked from any DGBT or PDGA websites, and try to grab some of the last few GA tickets. But we're pretty close to full here.
Well, that sounds fantastic. We hope you have a great week. And here's Terry Miller with just a couple more.
Good afternoon, Jeff. How you doing?
Terry. Good. How are you?
Good. You recently, just a few hours ago, so to speak, celebrated a birthday. So
yeah,
happy
that's right.
birthday.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I'd like to tie that into, as you've moved on with your disc golf career and you put in the bid and you hosted 2018. Here we are 5 years later. Give some insight maybe to an aspiring full-time disc golf promoter or part-time disc golf promoter. What are some of the things you've learned that you can impart that wisdom on others out there that would like a similar career?
Well, the industry's growing, so I think there's a lot of opportunities. I think that disc golf's a lot about passion. The industry has been growing from people who love disc golf and care about disc golf, and as we've kind of gotten to the growth stage that we're at, now we're seeing people outside of disc golf be interested in just business opportunity, folks that have specialized skill sets and maybe marketing or finance, or there's a lot of different sectors that the industry touches. We've seen recreation majors and outdoor education folks join us, and a big push of people that got interested in the COVID push join. So I always personally am motivated by my passion for doing what I love, and I'm motivated by connecting people to nature and creating kind of courses that are designed in beautiful areas that help people get outside easily and enjoy an outdoor sport. So my advice would be follow the passion that you have, and there's so many different types of jobs now that you can have in disc golf. So if you want to be connected to a passion, I think it's a great industry to be in.
And then following up on connection, we've connected now with some high-level sponsors. In fact, looking at one of the largest payouts we've ever seen in disc golf history. Just give us a little overview as to what we can expect, not from just the dollars and cents, but the new partnerships that have formed for the week.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't be more thrilled to have L.L.Bean as the presenting partnership. Sean Jack and I have been working with L.L.Bean for a few years with the Disc Golf Pro Tour. And could sense that they were interested in something bigger, and just being their headquarters not too far away in the Maine area, Freeport, Maine, I think. It works because they have a partnership with the resort as well. So their contribution has led to the second largest payout in PDGA history, $275,000 on the line this week, and we couldn't be happier for the level of support that L.L.Bean has shown. We've got some other great partners on board. I just heard Duncan got on board, so thanks to Duncan. Of course, the Endemic partners, Discraft is the course sponsor, so we're going to be playing all on new Discraft baskets out here this week. But we've got Innova MVP, ThoughtSpace, DD, Latitude West Side, the list goes on. I'm probably missing some, so I won't try to name everybody. But just thank you for your support from the Smugglers Notch Resort staff, from the PDGA, and from our crew here that are putting it together. But yeah, it certainly has felt like the biggest sponsorship push that I've been a part of to date, and we're just thrilled about the results and excited to deliver a big purse for the players.
Awesome. Best of luck. Here's Hayden Henry from the PDGA with one last question.
All right.
All right, Jeff, just been a crazy year on the Elite Series. 16 different FPO winners, 13 MPO winners. What's the show going to be like here at Smugs?
Well, Brewster and Fox are not just about pure distance. Fox is 95, almost 9,500 feet. Brewster's 85. But it takes, precise distance and controlling your disc to the ground, shot shaping through the woods, on almost every hole. And so I think that opens the door to a wide array of potential champions. Last time we were here, Barsby and Paige Shue came away as champions, and I think that they were some of the least likely champions that we've seen based on, their ranking at the time and their place in the standings at the time. So I think that we probably will find it really hard to predict what's going to happen here. Our past champions a few years, have been Ricky Wysocki, Chris Dickerson, Paul McBeth. We've seen Hailey King win. We've seen Kristin Tattar win. We've seen Catrina win, Paige win. And obviously Paige Shue, formerly Bjerkaas, and Gregg Barsby. So, somebody like Matty O, could pop off. He's had high finishes, but you could also see Simon, who won last week, do something. So I think it's really unpredictable, but I think it's a style of golf that it maybe seems old school, but I think it's really fair and balanced, and that's our goal here, is to highlight the beautiful nature around us and shot shape with control to the ground on almost every hole.
Well, it looks incredible. Going to be a show for sure. Thanks for everything, Jeff. We'll be right back.
Thanks, Ed.
Welcome back. Now joined here by the last world champion here at Smugglers Notch Resort, Gregg Barsby. It was a phenomenal victory in 2018, and sure, you come back here, I'm sure, every year thinking about it. How does it feel coming back yet again?
Amazing. I'm glad the weather's kind of been a little nicer the last couple days. They've been getting a lot of rain, so groundskeepers have been hard at work. I'm happy to be up in the mountains again.
How you feeling right now game-wise? How's the body feeling? How's the shots feeling?
Good. I spent some time over at another local course because it was really wet out here. Just try to bring the love back and go out and enjoy playing. And I think that's going to be my mantra through this week, is just have fun playing golf. And this is a really enjoyable place to be. So, obviously there's a little extra pressure, but I'm excited.
A little extra pressure doesn't hurt anybody. I got to say, though, you played a skins match and had a little success. I'm not going to say what it was because that's not here yet. But how did you do yesterday? You feel good about the day? You don't have to give results, but
Yeah.
how fun was it playing that skins match with all the world champions?
Oh, it was awesome. Yeah, it was actually really good synergy on the card too. So, yeah, I played a fairly good round. Most of the time, skins is a little bit different than traditional stroke play, but tried to stick to the game plan as much as possible, minus a couple shots that I threw OB that were more of skins style play.
Yeah.
I think I shot probably 8 under even with those, so I was pretty happy there. Clean those mistakes up.
A lot of good world champions going up against you. It's going to be a great video, but I will ask you, how much practice do you actually get playing an alternative format like that for stroke play?
I mean, there's definitely, playing skins is a whole different animal. So the rules are kind of out the window when you have to make a shot. Sometimes you might have to run it. So, but I tried to stick to the game plan as much as possible. So, it's a good course for skins.
Talk about the season in general. Haven't gotten to talk to you at a lot of these press conferences. What's life been like for you? How's the season been going so far for you?
Yeah, it's been up and down for sure. I've been really busy at home with the piece of property, and my focus really wasn't there at the start of the year. So I think everybody could tell when I was kind of all over the board, but bounced back, won Masters Cup, went home after the West Coast swing, and then came out to Des Moines, got on the podium, which felt good even though it was a shortened contest. So there's been glimmers of really good golf in there. I think it's just about putting it together out here and getting off the starting block. The last few events, European Open being the one that sticks out the most, I really didn't get off the starting block. After the 3 rounds, I think I shot 8, 7, 8. So those were right up in there for scores that, had a chance to win. So just get a good start and we'll just play golf.
See what happens.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks, Greg. Here's Zoe Andike for a couple.
Welcome back to this fantastic venue, Greg. And
Thanks.
we've talked about how you're the 2018 world champion right here. But I would like you to just kind of speak really quickly to the level of confidence after you won that world title and what that experience really taught you after playing your whole life. What did that title give you?
The next few weeks, I think I laughed at every 30-footer, right? Because I felt like none of them mattered, right? I kind of got the life goal done. I finally got to let go of all the woes on the putting green that year at Hall of Fame down in Georgia. That was one of my best putting performances. So, I think it's just more of a confirmation of a lot of things, that I've been working towards. I felt like I've been able to compete and beat the best players when I play well, and it was just nice to do it at the right time. I think that's the biggest, most important thing to take away is just kind of rising to this occasion. I think this is a bigger tournament. There's a different energy level at the World Championships than any other event. Like, hands down, everybody has a little bit more pressure because this is the one I think that means the most. So, yeah, I mean, life's been good,
Would you say, and this is just my last question for you real quick, would you say that having that notch in your belt, having that world title, puts you up in like an advantage point for this World Championships and future World Championships that you'll be at because you've had that experience?
Yeah, certainly. I've played, I think this is maybe my 20th or 21st World Championship. So I had loads of top 20s. I kept getting 12th, 14th, 15th, 13th. So winning, I think, kind of gave me an extra boost, and I had a really good Worlds in Utah when James won. I took 6th. And even last year, Emporia doesn't really suit up my game that well, but I shot really well up until maybe the last 5 holes, had a chance to go in the top 10, a couple rough holes there at the end, but I still shot 30 under. So that's still a really good score if you look at the numbers, and it was just highly contested, not much wind in Emporia, so a lot of guys throwing hyzer shots. There's not much technicality there. And thankfully, this weekend's a bit different. I can use my navigation skills and my experience to my advantage.
Well, we know you as one of the people's champs, and we're wishing you the best luck this week.
Thanks.
Here's Terry Miller.
Thank you much.
Good afternoon, Greg.
Hey.
I want to follow up exactly what you just said about your skills and we've heard the vibes, the feels of being back here. Now I want to know, how does your game stack up to your 2018 version? Like, what would you say stands out from then to now?
That's a good question. I mean, there's definitely some different lines I'm playing than maybe 5 years ago. Like hole 4 on Fox comes to mind. I'm not throwing the forehand. That gap has shrunk down so much. I can't bank on hitting a 3-foot gap every round. Maybe a couple different discs, but I also have some of the same ones in the bag. Kind of just playing it in the fairway here is so important. Those first shots, getting them in play, whether it be from 350 feet or 250 feet, really doesn't matter. So I just want to get down the fairway and get through the course.
My final question is, as Zoe just mentioned, you've got that notch, the world champion. Very few people can call themselves that. What's the legacy you'd like to leave behind? I know you're continuing to grow on it now, but what would you say is your legacy you want to leave behind when you maybe hang it up in disc golf?
Yeah, I think my longevity is probably the most important thing. Double G and Matty O and I are kind of the 3 musketeers, if you will, starting in 2003 of our pro career. So this is year 21 for us, and we're all still out here doing it. Simon's got a lower number and Double G's got a lower number, but I'm usually kind of right there, so I get the bump on the cards if it's a tie. So I think that's probably the legacy I want to leave behind, and just being a part of the community, being a member, going out to the private courses here and just kind of meeting everybody. It's kind of how I came up, playing the leagues and learning from everybody and being able to just enjoy our community. It's one of the best. The disc golf community is top notch, all around the world. So I feel really fortunate to be part of that.
Well, everyone, Gregg Barsby is hoping to soak in all the Vermont feels and vibes. Also, reclaim a title here at Smuggler's Notch. Best of luck to you.
Yes, sir.
We'll be right back.
Thank you.
And welcome back. We are now joined here by another world champion who has won here at Smuggler's Notch, Paige Shue. Paige, I got to ask the question that we ask every year you come back here. How does it feel driving back into this parking lot?
Amazing. Just as awesome as you would think. You know, it's cool. That hole 18 where I tapped in at Fox Run is like the first basket you see, so I'm flooded with awesome memories and just glad to be back out here throwing discs again.
Man, all these years later, we're back at another world championship, and your career and life has changed so much since that world title.
Yeah.
How are you now as a player? How do you feel compared to when you won in 2018?
Yeah, I'd say I take few more risks now. Time has changed, and I think, what it took for me to win here in 2018 was playing safe, keeping it in bounds. But now that there's shorter tee pads here and a couple changes, I think birdies are going to be good. And I think this whole year I've kind of made that adjustment where, pars are good, but I want to get those birdies that, weren't so important in the years past. So, just adding little more dimensions to my game, I guess.
So is that maybe reaching more for the distance driver, maybe running some more aggressive putts? What does that exactly look like for you?
Reaching for the distance drivers and fairways instead of disking down. You can still hit the middle of the fairway, I'm just trying to throw higher speeds and getting a little bit more distance.
Well, let's talk. Is the entire family out here at Smuggler's Notch? What's that looking like this week?
Unfortunately, no. My dad actually is here because he works for the PDGA now. But he's the director of operations, so he's got a lot of other things on his plate. So he won't be walking with me. My mom's back home. So yeah, not the same setup as last time, but I know they'll be watching live at the same time. So I'm still confident and excited to come into the event.
Fantastic. Here's Zoe Andike.
Welcome back to this fantastic place, Paige. And I want to take us right back to 2018, right over there. One of the most beautiful greens that you tapped out that World Championship. Yeah. Can you describe that unbelievable feeling of joy? And then can you follow that up with what it did for your levels of confidence right after that win?
Yeah, man. It is amazing as you would think, just lots of excitement, tears, happiness, joy, all the time put in. I won at a young age, which is nice, but I've been playing since I was 10, and I think what people don't see is like the sleepovers I skipped when I was 10, 11, 12 because I had a tournament on the weekends, or waking up early. Most kids growing up get to sleep in on the weekends, but I was up at 7, 8 a.m. getting ready for the tournament. And so to win, it just has everything pays off. All the time you put in, all the effort, all the heartbreak. Every disc golfer knows how much pain there is in this game, like when it's been so close. And leading up to that event, I had a lot of close finishes, almost wins. And so to finally get the win was as awesome as you'd think. Just so many emotions and so much happiness, and having my parents on the bag to see it all and see me grow as a young girl into a top competitor was, just everything you would think it would be. Just amazing. And I think about that moment often, even 5 years later.
Well, I think that's really important. And into my next question, knowing that you have done it, you have that World Championship notch on your belt, does that give you a little bit more maybe knowledge or comfortability coming into this week-long tournament?
I would say yes and no. It is nice knowing that I have done it before and I know what it takes. But, it's been 5 years. A lot has changed. The game has changed and my game has changed. So, as I like that I've done it in the past, but I'm ready to focus and look forward and enjoy the opportunities that are ahead. And
that perfectly leads me into this, the FPO field. First of all, the depth, the unique winners this year. And players, I would say we're meeting new people all of the time coming out to these Elite and Silver Series. Does any of that affect you or affect the way that you're playing? I just heard you say you're going to be a little bit more aggressive, but when it comes to, say, the game plan of how you're playing these holes, besides aggressive, is there anything about the size of the field or depth of the field that influences your game?
Definitely a little bit. I would say going for a few more birdies. I said earlier the tee pads are a lot shorter than in 2018, so a lot more holes are attackable. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, yeah, par is good, but I know somebody's going to be getting a birdie. So I'm really going to try to go for those birdies and keep it clean when I can. I think the birdies will come. It's really minimizing the bogeys, and that'll put me in a good spot.
All right, my last question for you. Again, you might have to go back to 2018 to really think about this one, but let's talk about those final 5-6 holes.
Yeah.
Final round. What's going on in the brain, and what does it really feel like for the confidence coming down that stretch? Are you thinking about what other players are doing, or are you only focused forward to take that title?
In 2018? At that point, it fluctuated between like a 6-stroke lead to at one point a 9-stroke lead. So I was really kind of doing match play, throwing the shots I was planning on doing anyway, but, what is, my next closest competitor at the time was Paige Pierce, and, she had a couple 3-putts and a couple shanks. So really I'm like, all right, just get your pars and you're doing fine. And so luckily it wasn't very stressful coming down the last few holes. I think about that a lot and how blessed I am and how I put in the work early enough to where it wasn't like 1 or 2 strokes, I got to execute this putt. And so it was a breeze walking in, actually. It was very nice.
Well, good luck this weekend, and here's Terry Miller with a couple more.
Thank you.
Hey, Paige.
Hey.
Course feels good to be back.
Yeah.
And we've heard so much about that. What I want to dive into is less than 24 hours from now, you're going to be teeing off.
Yeah.
Walk us through what you think those emotions will be like. We've relived the past.
Yes.
What do you think you're going to feel like moments before you throw that first tee shot tomorrow?
I want to be as cool as a cucumber and super confident, but honestly, I'm a little realistic. I know I haven't had the best season, so I'm not going to put too much pressure on myself, although I know that if I do play my best, I'm up in contention. I can absolutely take it down. But I think just learning from my past few tournaments, some mistakes I've been making, just kind of clean those up. And really in my mind, I'm going to be nervous. I'm on feature card with the 3, I think, highest rated players. So I know that there's going to be a lot of pressure. So nerves, pressure, but also excitement. It's disc golf. It's what I love doing, and I'm playing with the best. And I also think being on a card with them will help me see what really needs, like the shots I need to be executing and what good golf is going to look like out here for our division. So all the things, excitement, nervous, confidence, all of it. We'll just step up to hole 1 and just see how it goes.
Well, and that kind of maybe summarizes a lot of my next question, which would have been, without having a great season moving so far into this point,
Yeah.
what's the difference for this event? You hadn't won back in 2018. You hadn't won an NT or a major at that point. Here you are. How do you gear up for this event specifically?
Yeah, honestly, nothing different. I mean, we got here really early. We got here on Thursday, and we've played literally every day. So I feel like I know the course as well, and I've just prepping like normal, throwing extra putts, making sure I'm rolling out, stretching, using the massage gun, eating right, just so my body is at least as well prepared as it can be. And just remember to have fun. I know it's a serious competition. There's a lot on the line, but, the joy of watching a Frisbee fly is the number one reason I'm here. So that'll be the main mindset.
Well, when she left here in 2018, she took her first world title. That's Paige Shue, now looking to regain the same here in 2023. We wish you the best of luck, and we'll be right back.
Thank you.
and welcome back. Joined here by yet another world champion, James Conrad. James, seems like every year now when it's Worlds time, that clip from 2021 surfaces again. Do you get butterflies come to World Championships? Does it feel different than other events throughout the year?
Yeah, I definitely think it does. I think it always kind of has for me. You know, it just has a special connotation, like playing for the World Championships, and I'd say even more so for me now. It just brings back all those awesome memories from 2021, and kind of get to relive that accomplishment, like relive it again, and just kind of feel some of those emotions resurfacing, which is a lot of fun.
When you prepare for a major, obviously there's physical preparation. You go out to the course and you practice the shots, figure out the lines, what discs are working. Do you do any sort of mental or psychological prep? I know a little while ago you said you were like big into meditation, doing stuff like that. Is there anything that you do now to get into that world's mindset?
I wouldn't say I have like a really set in stone routine for that, but I do think that your mental prep is super important. I feel like I, at a minimum, try to kind of clear my plate of other things that you might be worried about, like whether that's like making sure you already got an oil change, or just little things that could kind of be on the back of your mind. Try to kind of ease your mind of as many of those little things as you can, so that when it comes time for competition, you're able to be 100% present and trying to maintain that focus level throughout the entire event.
How early did you get to town, and how many practice rounds have you gotten to play so far?
I got into town about a week early. I think I got here on Wednesday, this past Wednesday, and I think today will be my 5th practice round, so not a crazy amount, but I'm also, I already feel very familiar with these courses. I've played these courses a lot over the years, so I feel like it was a nice amount of time to be here, and I didn't really overwork myself this past week.
Well, it's been interesting seeing so much, young talent come through the Disc Golf Pro Tour this year. The competition has been pretty incredible. So many different unique winners. Let's talk about you, though. It seems like your play style has not been evolving, so to speak, maybe at least from what we're seeing on camera, but does it feel like it's evolving for you?
I wouldn't necessarily say I've tried to like evolve my play style, maybe refine, if anything. This year's been kind of a weird one for me. It's been a little more of a roller coaster than I'm used to. Like, I feel like my good rounds have been some of my best in my career, but I've also had, some of my worst events in my career. Missing cash like a handful of times this year has been a little tough, but I feel like I've kind of been pushing my envelope a little bit. With the talent level, like, you have to play pretty much hyper aggressive to have a chance to win, and winning's still definitely on my mind. And so kind of, trying to just test that edge, like see how hard I can push without losing control. And I feel like my game feels good. It's been up and down, but when it's good, it's been really good, and that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and what I was referring to in regards to evolving is, not necessarily the score quality, but more like the play style quality. It seems like some of the young players are still learning how to throw forehand. They're still learning how to shape certain shots with the backhand. Do you feel like your backhand has gotten, more options or more variety at all over the years?
Yeah, I'd say so. I feel like one of the things I've really worked on over the years is trying to get just as comfortable with like a hyzer release as a flat release, as an anhyzer release, really being able to work discs on different angles and switch that up for what the hole asks for. Having a good time with it. I love working the backhand angles.
Well, it's going to be a real treat to watch you do that out here at Brewster Ridge especially. With that, I have Zoe Andyke for a couple questions.
Thanks, Brian.
Hey, James.
Hey, Zoe.
Welcome you back to such a beautiful spot. And, I mean, really, we kind of talked about the holy shot in 2021, but I do want to go back to that. If you can dig up in your memory about a week or so after you won that world title, I feel like that's enough time for things to soak in. Can you describe what kind of confidence and really what that did for you as a player in your game to win that first world championship?
Yeah, I feel like it was, it's kind of hard to put to words, but it was definitely just such a sense of accomplishment to be able to take home that world title, and to be able to pull off a shot like that on demand was, super special to me, and definitely, I guess made me believe in myself even a little bit more. Yeah.
And really,
cool.
past the holy shot, there was still a playoff to accomplish and conquer. And I'm thinking about that walk after 18 all the way up to hole 16. Talk about just those few minutes. And what is it that worked for you? What were you telling yourself? Or was it a fact that you were in a blank mental state, just ready to throw the shot?
Yeah, I was definitely thankful for that walk. I feel like we had close to 20 minutes between the end of 18 and the start of the playoff, and obviously the adrenaline and all the emotions were like incredibly high right after throwing it in, and having that time to just kind of come back to my breath and kind of settle down. And at that point in time, it felt like it was totally in my court, you know, like I had just pulled off such a miraculous shot. It felt like the whole crowd was behind me, and it almost felt like it was already decided that I was going to win in a weird kind of way. And I feel like you almost have to have that kind of confidence. You just have to absolutely believe that you can win to win at this level, which is definitely a good reminder to myself even.
Well, that makes it easy for my very last question here, James. Do you see yourself, do you visualize yourself on top of the podium this week or again and again throughout your career?
Absolutely. Yep.
That's really, that's what it was right there, is talking and speaking to it, your career, what is next for you, or is it just continue to stack up these major titles?
That's definitely my focus right now, just to stay focused on the competition, trying to put the best version of myself out there on the course. Try to treat myself and my card mates with dignity out on the course, and hopefully play some great disc golf.
Well, good luck to you. We are all pulling for another couple of miraculous shots and an awesome World Championships. Have a great week out there.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Yep.
Joining us now is Ricky Wysocki. And Rick, I'm just going to start with some numbers, and that's you winning here. 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017 Tour Championship, and last year's GMC. What is it about this place?
I mean, yeah, you hear players say it all the time that it fits your game really well, and I mean, it just does. This place, I feel really confident out here. Every shot almost suits my eye. There's not almost any hole that I walk up to that I feel like super nervous about not having the right shot for the hole or something like that. And so I think that equates to a lot of confidence out here. I know I can throw the shots, and for me, that's a confidence builder, and it's just being in the right mental frame for me. If I can be in the right mental frame from round 1 to round 5, I'm a good enough competitor, and I know I can win.
I love seeing and hearing the confidence, but you've also watched this place undergo significant changes, growth, development. Break down kind of what you've seen in all those years, all the way back to 2013.
Yeah, I mean, I remember Jeff Spring. I was one of the first couple pros that would come to his tournament, and I started recruiting people from there, and the courses started getting better from there. And so I think that like you said, I saw the growth from the start. He's done so much. He's got, one of the first couple courses that had like a full-time maintenance crew. I thought that was really cool back in 2013, 2014. and it really shows. This place is just morphed into the perfect venue. We got the wooded course at Brewster. We got the open course at Fox. And so it's just the perfect venue to showcase the professional sport from spectators to the top professionals and everyone in between.
And I know with all those wins I just mentioned, all the other times you've been here, is there any one memory that really just jumps out at you as a standout memory here at this property?
Yeah, I think it's hole 18. I think the way it played out last year, there's a lot of emotions, the highs and lows with me and Chris battling. That was intense, and he plays really well here as well. So there's a lot of players that are gonna play well, and I think it's gonna be great viewing for the spectators. Gonna be high level disc golf. I can pretty much guarantee you that, and I'm excited to be a part of it.
Well, my final question is, you came into the season a little bit later. You then did find some success, but really late April and then late May. We talked at that point about you possibly having fresher legs. That may have been a blessing in disguise to some degree, that you might be fresher at this time of year compared to others. Do you feel that way?
Yeah, I do. I think that the mental, burnout is a real thing towards the end of the year. You hear players saying, "Oh, I'm burned out from playing a tournament every week for months on end," and so that can wear on you mentally as a player. If you're going through a funk and you got to play week after week when you're in a slump, that can build up to some bad mental energy out there. And I think that, not saying that every player is like that, but it can wear on you. And so I feel like I'm fresher than I normally am coming into a World Championships, and I think, like you said, that's something I can take as a big positive.
All right, I'm going to borrow one more. You just said slump. You haven't won a Worlds since 2017. How much is that on your mind?
A lot. I mean, I've had a great week of prep. I think for me, a lot of it's mental. Doing a lot of ice baths, chiropractic, massage, eating healthy, taking supplements. I mean, just the whole 9 yards. Making sure that my body's in full shape, ready to go before the tournament starts, and nothing's getting in the way of that.
Sounds like the Rick we've all come to know. Here's Zoe Endike.
Welcome back to Smugs, Rick.
Thank you.
So beautiful here. We know that there is some weather in the forecast this week. We've also heard just kind of about the crazy, really wet conditions that they've had since April. How do you think that's going to affect the play on both of these courses?
Yeah, to be honest, I think Brewster gets more affected just because of the sloppy fairways and really slippery tee pads. Fox is more in the sun, so the tee pads have time to dry out. And so I've noticed in the shady holes at Brewster, the tee pads are extremely slick. It doesn't matter how good your footwork is, you have a good chance of slipping. So there is that. That's the hardest component out there, and a lot of standstill shots from the fairway as well. So I've definitely been practicing that a little bit more than I normally do, just because I want to have that in the bag for when I need a standstill shot. If I land in a super sloppy area, sometimes you take relief, but the relief puts you 50 feet back, and it's a little bit harder of a shot. So having that standstill can save you some strokes in the long run.
All right, I want to individually focus on the courses. So Brewster, the biggest change that sticks out to me is that par 5. Talk about that change and your attack plan on that hole.
It's a great challenging hole. I mean, it's a par 5. 4 is an amazing score. It almost feels like an eagle. There's no threes. You're not seeing any threes on that hole. I can almost guarantee you that. But 5 is not even a bad score. So it's kind of a hole you just really don't want to 6. You're going to lose strokes to pretty much the entire field if you 6 it, but 4, you're not going to see very many of those either. I mean, may see 10 or 15 throughout the whole weekend probably. So it's definitely not a hole you're thinking I got to get this every time. But if you're in the hunt near the lead, you're going to want to pick it up to gain some strokes on the field. And
then over to Fox Run. There's not a lot of changes, but there's certainly some tweaks to the OB. Do you think it's playing harder?
Yeah, a little bit tightened OBs. The par 5 actually opened up a little bit, but I think it's kind of like a sucker OB because it makes people want to force down there. But in all reality, if you're playing course management, you're not going to blast a 700-foot shot over OB the entire way if you throw it. So, it's kind of like you can lay up to the par 5, go for it spot just to get an easier chip up for an easier 4. I don't think in a tournament play you're really going to see many people going for the 3. And skins and all this other stuff, it's fun to talk about, but in all reality, when there's a world title on the line, people aren't throwing 650 over OB the entire way. It's just not really a realistic shot. So, but yeah, it's cool to be able to blast off the tee and make that shot, that second and third shot, easier.
All right, my last one for you is, how many times have you visualized hoisting that third World Championship trophy?
I would say it's been at least a week, 2 weeks. I feel like I've been saving mental energy. At D-Glow, I didn't really play the best of my ability. I feel like as a player, you only have so much mental energy to give at tournaments, and once it gets depleted, that's when you see people get burned out. And I feel like my mental energy, I've kind of been saving it up, keeping the mental tank full for this week, and I'm ready to burn that tank low and not just make a run at the title, but win it. And I feel like I'm in a great spot mentally, and that's for me, all I need.
Well, good luck to you, Rick. And here's Brian with just a couple questions.
Thank you.
I really just have one last question for you, Ricky. I talked a lot to your caddy, Fern, at D-Glow, and we were talking about, what as a caddy can you do for someone like you who's done it for themselves for so long. I mean, you've been touring over a decade, and he mentioned that he's talked to you a little bit about slots in your bag, maybe stabilities of certain discs that you've worked in and out. Do you like having someone like that to kind of bounce ideas off of like that?
Yeah, I added a fairway driver into my bag, an Explorer, that I don't normally throw. As you guys know, I'm a flex thrower, so I kind of added a little hyzer flip fairway into my bag this week, and he was a big reason why. So he definitely helps. You'd be surprised. He helps with adding discs to the bag, adding new shots to the bag. So he helps a lot more than you would think. And also just momentum. As you hear me talk about it a lot, but he can kind of see when I'm slipping with momentum and when I need some positive talk from a caddy can definitely go a long way. Just one or two little words or sentences to kind of try to snap you out of that, snowball into, bad negative thoughts. So that kind of stuff helps a ton. Even if it doesn't seem like it, it really does.
Well, it's awesome to hear. He's such a great hype man. We've seen that throughout the entire year, but he's also clearly helping you out with the equipment side, which is kind of interesting. Ricky, good luck this week. We'll see you out there.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Current world champion Kristin Tattar joins us. Kristin, you and I were just speaking a moment ago, and you said this feels like a place you've been to more than others. What does that mean to you in terms of being here and taking it all in?
It's always wonderful to be back here. I mean, I think Vermont is one of my favorite places in the States to visit. And yes, I played my first Worlds here in 2018, which is already 5 years ago. So this place definitely holds a special spot in my memory, and I'm just so happy to be here.
How does your game match up from the 2018 version of yourself to today? How does your game look? How do they compare?
I think currently I play backhand and forehand equally, but back then I was struggling with my forehand because I started out as a forehand player, and then I switched over to backhand, and it was really hard to combine these two. So I was in the middle then, and it made the courses a lot harder than they are currently, I would say. Yeah, for me.
Well, you seem to have less trouble getting around the courses these days. Just for a moment, I want to touch back on the big win that you had at the European Championships. Answer any questions that people have, whether it's injury or feelings or whatever. How are you feeling physically after that event?
Right now I'm feeling good. I don't have a new injury. It's just old things that are popping up from time to time just because of some fatigue, and I think just European Championship, it had a lot of factors that were combined together which made the end, like the final round, very hard for me. but there's no new injury, so there's nothing new that I'm dealing with. It's old stuff that's going on, but I mean, right now I'm feeling good.
Yeah, we saw tape on your arm as
Yeah.
part of that injury. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being feeling perfect, where would you put yourself on that scale in terms of your injury?
Above middle, just
middle.
above middle.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you come into this event, it's a 5-round tournament, you're the highest rated woman, which usually rewards consistency. What kind of pressures do you feel on yourself as the highest rated and maybe what most would consider the favorite to win this?
I don't think about it, to be honest. I mean, if I would start to think about it, it would probably mess with the process. What I've learned over the years, in order to win, you have to be focused on the process. You can't have the end goal in front of your eyes, you know. You have to be in the moment and let everything just roll out as it should. And then usually you'll have results that you can be happy with. But if you have that title in your mind the entire time, I think, at least for me, it's hard to perform, I would say.
Well, we wish you the best of luck. I know it's going to be a very long and grueling week, as we know you're the most prepared. Here's Brian Earhart.
Okay.
Hey, Kristin.
Hey.
A couple questions for you. You now have a world title under your belt. You're coming back for your second. Does the preparation for the second world title feel any different, or maybe the mindset you carry into this week any different at all?
I feel more relaxed compared to last year. I think last year I had a lot more hunger in me. Not that I don't have it right now, but it was just different, like a different frequency that I was in. It's hard to explain. But right now I'm just like hoping that I can perform as good so that I can just enjoy play disc golf. And usually good results follow that.
Well, I do have just one more question kind of following that. I've talked to a lot of players that have won the big tournaments, and they all seem to think about Worlds differently. Some of them really put this tournament on a pedestal. They try to heighten everything, the preparation, everything. Some people try to treat it like the smallest tier event that they played that year, very casually. How do you feel about this tournament?
For me, the same approach. The approach has to be the same as it is every week, at least for me. Because everybody that I'm playing here with they're the same. So if I put more meaning into World Championships, then it would also be hard to show up and like play well. So just treating it as any other tournament, I think is a good approach.
I lied. I have one more question for you. I talked to Ohn Scoggins the other day after she played with you at the Mixed Doubles Championships, and the first thing she said was that your putting was blowing her mind. How does your putting stroke feel right now this week?
How can my putting blow Owen's mind? It
must be a compliment.
Okay, then it must have been really good. Yeah. No, I was putting very well. I think I did not miss a putt. Okay, I missed one putt, but I was making it from everywhere. Some days you just have good putting days. It doesn't mean that it will be like this forever. It's disc golf. Anything can change. But yeah, the putters were feeling hot. Hopefully I can carry it into the individual tournament as well.
Well, we're really looking forward to seeing it. Good luck this week. Here's Zoe Endike.
Thanks.
Welcome back to Smugglers. It's so great to have you here, Kristin. I want to say congratulations also on the European victory.
Thank you.
And Kristin, you've won the last 3 majors, and you've got 10 huge wins on this year so far. I'm not sure how much you're keeping track, but the stats are showing top of the game, top of the division. Is that how you would describe your feelings right now?
I don't really think about the past events, to be honest. Every time I go to another event, it's like starting from a clean sheet, at least for me. So what has happened in the past, it's like the stories that we tell, but it doesn't hold any importance in that moment. I mean, it's good to have experienced all of this and good to have been in the situations where there's pressure and everything that comes with disc golf. But I start from a clean sheet and just excited to see where it takes me.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you. This is really, from everything I've read on social media and in other areas, it's not often that a top-notch athlete shares about their feelings after they've processed such an experience at the European Championships. And you shared very openly and really put yourself out there. And I just want to thank you, first of all, from myself and the general public. And I want to ask you about your motivation to be so honest and share with us all.
I think a lot of us press down our feelings and emotions, but we shouldn't do that. I think we are here to experience everything, all the emotions that we have. Doesn't matter if we label them good or bad. And I think it's our job to process those feelings. Otherwise, they will be stuck somewhere inside of us. So just being open about it and saying that this is totally normal. I know for some people I look very calm, that I don't have any emotions, but I have a lot of emotions and I process through them. And I would like to encourage everybody else to do the same, I guess. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing. Best of luck to you this week, and thank you again for this interview.
Thank you so much.
We'll be right back.
Joining us now is Simon Lizotte. Simon, looking for easy questions here. I'm looking for easy answers.
I got you.
What would it mean to finally claim yourself as a world champion at the end of this week?
I feel I'm not quite at the finally stage yet. This is my 10th season. I think my 9th world championship, so I have a couple more in me, and maybe in like 5 years it'll feel like finally. But no, it'll be great. At Smugs, I haven't historically done too well. I think only 1 or 2 top 10s in my like 7 or 8 attempts. But I feel like I'm throwing this better than ever right now. And being the first world champion from Europe, claiming my German champion, European champion, world champion bucket list, checklist, would be, I would retire happily.
And then representing in some degree Canada as well, I'm sure, in all of that, right? So,
of course.
Everyone talks about the feels and the vibes and what it means to play, like what it means to step on this property. What haven't you put together when you come out here, and why hasn't that led to success? What are you missing?
I don't know. I mean, these courses are a bit unique on tour because they don't favor distance at all. Like even in the open side at Fox Run, It's all about position play. It's all about smart golf. It's all about making your putts and staying in balance. Those are both courses, basically, how these have to be played. So I feel like there's more people in the pool that can win here. And I feel like people just get on a freaking heater out here. People start shredding. And I feel like I'm not even playing that bad, but I'm in like 20th place when I feel like I was playing solid. And that's just how it's been out here in the last couple of years. But hopefully I get the heater.
Well, speaking of heaters, it's been in the last 2 years we've seen you basically claim 6 of your biggest events in terms of what you're doing, including D-Glow just a few weeks ago. What does that say about your game, that it's been so solid over just these last 2 years? It's been solid for a long time, but especially these last 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've changed a lot in the last couple of years. I mean, I'm a dad now, and I'm 30 years old. I'm like a veteran on tour almost. My golf game has matured a lot. I have matured a lot, and according to my elbow and kind of rest of my body, how it feels often after just one round, like I got to keep my throw count low. Like I'm forced to. So, yeah, it's just different priorities and playing a bit more of the smarter shots and just, I guess, all around just a bit more mature.
Anytime that you've performed well or you've had a great round or a great tournament and won, you always say, I'm happy about my OB count and I'm happy about making C1X putts. And now you just said that feels like the recipe for you here at Worlds, right?
Yeah.
How do you get into that mindset? When you look back and you look at those weekends where you did those things, was there a trigger? Was there something that happened?
Well, I'm probably the wrong guy to ask since my performances are a major roller coaster ride. So I'm not the consistency king, definitely. So I couldn't tell you how. If I knew how, I think I would be more consistent. I'll try, Terry. I go in there and I'll just try to do my best and forget the rest. That's the motto.
All right, my final easy question for you is, what's the number one thing you're looking forward to off the course here in Vermont this week?
I have my family with me, so my wife and child are here, so snuggling my son in the morning is my favorite thing.
Totes adorbs, everyone. That's the fathers. Simon Lizotte. Here's Brian Earhart.
Simon, I have to take a quick detour with this question. We saw James Proctor back at OTB bring the Polecat World Championship belt into the press conference. You have the Glitch World Championships coming up at Maple Hill. How does your glitch game feel right now? What are your chances of winning that tournament? High.
I think they are pretty high. I've played some glitch-only rounds at Maple already. It's kind of like the thing I was most looking forward to when I made the switch to MVP. The glitch was actually a top 10 reason why I even considered making the switch. Like, it's just such a fun disc, one of my favorite. They just nailed it. Let's just say that. And I've not really thrown it much on tour this year, but I have run some like longer putts or some low ceiling putts where you just want some extra glide. So obviously I can throw it further than most, but I think my main advantage is actually going to be putting with it because I've been practicing.
I appreciate hearing that. And for anyone who is watching, yes, there is a Glitch World Championships coming up.
Maple Hill next week, Friday. Sign up now.
Try to take this man down. It'll be quite the battle. But now let's talk about this week, and then I guess bring into it your performance at D-Glow. You looked exhausted once you tapped out on hole number 18, the final day. Rightfully so. How active has your recovery or preparation been coming up to this tournament?
Not ideal. I mean, I've been so busy. I have so many things coming up right now. Literally this week, next month. There's just one after the next right now, and it takes so much prep work. There's so much promo stuff I'm doing, and yeah, like yesterday I forgot a freaking photo shoot I had to do, which I never do that, and I felt so bad that I left people hanging, but there's just so many things in my mind right now that I need a rest, because it's going to be a long week here.
Well, one last question for me before we wrap it up. I feel like I've talked to quite a few players of your caliber that say sometimes when things are very chaotic around you, it feels very nice to be on the disc golf course away from all of that. Is that how you feel right now?
Yeah, this whole season, even last year, like when I'm on tour, it feels like my vacation almost, especially during my rounds. It's just I don't have to worry about anything. I'm just there to do my job, and that feels sometimes easier than dealing with a 1-year-old.
Well, that's pretty accurate, Simon. Well, congratulations on everything so far. Good luck this week. We'll see you out there.
Thank you. All set.
And we are back on the Disc Golf Network, joined by Ohn Scoggins. Ohn, welcome back to Smuggler's Notch.
Thank you for having me.
Congratulations on a huge accomplishment, finally checking off that Elite Series win at D-Glow. How did that feel?
One word. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Happy.
And
couldn't believe my dream has come true.
And I'm sure you've got just a couple more in there, a couple more dream wish lists to check off. But starting off with a win in the doubles competition, your partner Joel Freeman. How is that for kicking off this World Championships?
Joe, that's why I was asking him, like, hey, Joe, do you heavy your shoulder? Because you have to carry me for 2 rounds. He's so good. He throws so far. I didn't see, like, okay, here's the thing. I didn't see him play much, but when I see him by my own eyes, I couldn't believe how far he can throw. I see a lot of guys throw far, but I have to give him a big credit. Like, Joe can throw very far. The up shot, the side arm, the putting. I'm like, thanks, Joe. He's so good. He's so good. Yeah, and we work very well with each other. We support each other. Only positive, no negative. So that's why maybe make us win.
And was it your idea to partner up, or was that Joel's?
Joe.
Okay.
Joe, he was texting me. He was asking me, "Hey, Ohn, you interesting to be my partner?" I was like, "Joe Freeman?" I'm like, "Let's go!" I'm like, "Yeah, Joe, hell yeah!" Because I really like him, and I know his energy. I know him, the person, and his game was so good. You know, I said, yeah, we might have a chance. So, and that's why, and also, of course, he's my teammate. You know, in Noah. So I very exciting to be partnered with him, and hello, we win, isn't it?
Yeah, starting off this week with a win.
Mm-hmm.
And what was that like for you in preparation? We know that you play more practice rounds than probably most people on the tour, whether they're male or female. How have the practice rounds been? How many have you done? And did you use that doubles round as one of your practices?
Yeah. So I practiced a lot since I arrived from Great Lake Open. I'm probably take day off because we have been driving for like 14 hours. And then as long as I arrive here, so I practice right away. I feel just like practice round, but it's better because you have partners, so you can go big or go home, you know. So you have no layup. You just, you know what? If I miss, my partner gonna make it, whatever. Just like a practice round with just it's crazy because me and him, we just so relaxed. We're not even like intense. We're not like thinking too much. We just like, hey Joe, whatever happened is happened. And he's like, yeah, on this deal, you know. So but the bad thing is I might practice too much. I feel like I hurt my arm a little bit yesterday. That's the bad thing. But hopefully tomorrow I woke up and I feel better. So we'll see.
And if you don't mind me asking just a little bit, does it hurt more when throwing sidearm or backhand, or is it putting? Is it a combination or just one skill?
I heard all, even putting. So this morning I'm not even practice, and then when I putting, I have a hard time even putting. I take some pain medication right now, and hopefully tomorrow. So after this, I'm gonna go get ice and maybe hot tub and just try to do something. And tomorrow for sure I have to take a pain medication to knock it down, you know. Or like I said, when the day is coming, you put your tournament mood on, and I'm probably be okay out there.
So overall, with a 1 being low and a 10 being high, tell us, where is Ohn's confidence to win this World Championship this week?
Man, I feel like if I can shot in the wood course 5-6 down every day, and then the open one 6-7 down, it should be up there. It should be up there. But man, when you talk about Tattar, she is so good, isn't it? You feel like you play so good, and you look at score, Tattar beat everybody. I'm like, man. But anyway, I feel like whatever who win this weekend, I'll be very, very happy for her, because I know like all of us just working so hard, all of us just practice so much. And like I said, if I can shot like 5 or 6 rounds every day, I think it should be locked down for win, I think.
Well, Ohn, you are on a serious tear this season. You are so motivating to all of us. Good luck this week. And here's Terry Miller.
Thank you.
Hello, Ohn.
What up?
Congrats again on your D-Glow performance.
Thank you.
It was great to call that from the booth. Now, we were just talking about how you've been on a tear and then also how grateful you are. Where does that come from? So for someone that doesn't know you, where does that gratefulness and that spunk and energy, where does that come from?
Like I said, I come from nothing. Nobody know me. I have nothing in my life. Until today, I have a lot of stuff in my life. And so I look around. I'm kind of grateful with everything. I look people, even my competitor. I know they work so hard, and I just respect them a lot. Like, I see them whenever I walk on the course. I look up, it's them everywhere, and how can you not appreciate everything around you? Come on, this is so much everything beautiful around you. Like the world is created like beautiful tree, the air we can breathe, everything. Like I feel like sometimes we think a lot of stuff, like think too much, like a material, and we miss a lot of stuff around us. Sometimes the simple can make you more happy than the material. So that's why I feel like I'm just kind of like beware about surrounding me. I don't pay attention about like a material much in my life. So that's why I'm kind of like more appreciate everything around me, and I'm happy around. Yeah.
Well, you did get materialistic at D-Glow. You won yourself a brand new cup. I mean, trophy. You won a trophy, but you immediately turned it into a drinking vessel. Share your logic behind having a celebratory drink in there. Share how you think others maybe should too.
Hell yeah, why not? When I see that trophy, I'm like, oh, that's good for beer. That's the first thing I saw. When I saw it, I'm like, oh, that should be good for put a beer on and I can drink. I feel like when you win something, you should celebrate. Don't care too much like how you look, or I want to be like looking like, I'm weird, like I have to looking good. No, just be loose. Just be yourself. Because on that moment, you're working so hard, do whatever you want to do. And I feel like drinking a little bit here and there, just with my trophy, I think that's fine, because I feel like I'm very good control what I'm doing. I'm 42 years old. I know what I'm doing. And just to be enjoy that moment, because who knows when it's going to happen again? I don't know. So if I have this moment, I'm better take it big time and be myself. So
loose but in control, and yes. I absolutely love it. So then the follow-up, I'm only doing my job here. What is your beverage of choice? If you could, when you can pour anything in there, is there a particular brand or style that is your favorite?
Oh, I'm very easy drinking. I can drink anything, but not a strong drink though, not whiskey, nothing like that. I like beer, I like red wine, like maybe like margarita, and who knows, but not a strong one. I feel like when I'm celebrated, I would love to be celebrated with some alcohol, a little bit here and there. I think it's fine. Like, here's the thing, be real. We are a human being. We can get loose. We can drink a little bit here and there. But except you have to know how you're doing. You have to be in control. If you drink, you not get mad. You're not fighting. If you be that moment, you better not drink, because be healthy. Be healthy. Beware what you're doing. Surround people. And like I said, just be yourself. Just get loose.
I love it. Well, Ohn is looking to add another world title. She's got an FP 40 world title this year. She's got a doubles world title, and now going for the FPO world title. That is very elite company. Loose but controlled. That's Ohn Scoggins. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Welcome back, everybody. Joined here now by Calvin Heimburg. Calvin, you're the number one player on the Disc Golf Pro Tour standings right now. Now we're here for the World Championships in Vermont. How's the game? How's the body? How's everything feeling right now?
Everything's feeling good. I was able to get here a little earlier than most tournaments, so been able to, practice quite a bit and then rest when I needed to. So everything's feeling really good. I'm excited to play out here. We got two pretty balanced courses and open and wooded, and I think both of these courses reward, placing the disc where you want it more so than, just raw power and distance. So it should be a pretty good World Championships. I think there's going to be a lot of people in contention coming down the stretch, kind of similar to what we saw back here in whatever was 2018. So it should be a good one.
When you step up to any of these 36 holes, 36 tee shots for that matter, do you feel like there's any tee shots that are stumping you at all this week, or do you feel like you have an answer for everything?
I don't think anything's stumping me. Like, I know what I want to do. It's just some are a little trickier than others. But no, I think I have a pretty solid game plan for all of them, and it's just a matter of executing.
You mentioned that distance is not huge advantage out here.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely helps in certain spots, but not, like you said, not a lot. I do want to ask you about the new number 8 here at Brewster Ridge, the big uphill par 5.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the change? How do you feel about your game plan? Also, is anyone going to get the Eagle 3?
The change it's not terrible. It's probably not my favorite. I really did kind of like that par 4. So I don't know if the change was necessary. I think it's definitely possible to eagle, but I'm not sure how many people are going to go for it. I feel like going for eagle is, I don't know, it just brings par into play really quick. When if you're in a good enough position off the tee, it's, a lot easier just to play to kind of where the old basket was and then have, 270 feet into the green or something. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see it. There's a lot of really aggressive players. I'm probably not going for it either of the rounds I'm playing out there. I'm just planning on, throwing some fairways, hopefully down the middle.
Another risk-reward question that I have for you. There's a change out there at Fox Run, hole number 13, I believe it is. Are you going to go for the eagle on that one, or is it going to be more kind of conservative play from you?
Planning on a more conservative play out there on, what is it? It's 12. I think I think it's definitely eagleable. It's there. I'm not sure that it's worth it. I think it's more likely that you end up with a par going for it than, like, if you throw a really good tee shot, it's like the most gimme birdie that there is on the course. So just like pitching up. So I feel like that one, if you throw a really good tee shot, unless you're really trying to push to gain strokes because you're behind, you probably should just play for birdie.
Do you think the design of this new hole is tempting enough for other players in the field that might be gunning for the win, or do you feel like it's just kind of you being disciplined on it?
There's definitely going to be people going for it, and there's definitely going to be people that get it. Like, it's definitely more obtainable than the eagle on hole 8 on Brewster. So I don't see myself going for it unless it's something that I really need that extra stroke. I don't feel like that's the place to gain the stroke.
Well, thank you. Thank you for that clarity, Calvin. Here's Terry Miller.
Hey, Calvin.
Hey.
I have just a pretty straightforward one that we were given the stat that you really haven't finished in the top 5 here in Vermont when you've come here. And I guess the question would be, what would you attribute that to?
I've just thrown too many shots. I don't know.
So math is the problem?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess just I'm throwing too many times. No, I think, I actually really don't know. I feel like maybe it has to do with just probably not as great scores out here on Brewster. I generally feel pretty comfortable out in Fox. Brewster, it's a lot of mids and fairways, and I would say the least comfortable part of my game is throwing my mid-ranges. So if I had to guess, it's just not playing as well as I need to on Brewster.
And with that, does that immediately answer the question of which course should be played for more rounds? Do you love the fact that we're going to see, the Fox Run course 3 times, Brewster just twice? Does that just make the most logical sense for everyone?
I think it helps me because I feel more comfortable out there. Either way, I don't know if one makes more sense than the other. I know spectating out on Fox is certainly easier than it is on Brewster. So I'm pretty sure that probably has something to do with why we finish out there. But regardless of which courses we play, I'm going to go out there and play them.
What is the number one thing you're looking forward to off the course? Because so many people talk about Vermont, the beauty and the extracurriculars that can take place. Is there anything you're looking to get into this week?
Nothing really this week during the tournament. I mean, pretty focused on the tournament itself. But maybe afterwards, I got a friend that lives up here, so Kyle Sautel, so maybe spend a little bit of time with him after the event is over.
If you were a tour guide, which Calvin's Tours does sound like a brandable option right off the bat, I just thought of that. But if you were a tour guide, where's the first place you would take somebody around here?
I don't know. I'd probably take him to Bingham Falls. It's a pretty cool swim spot / short hike. There's tons of hiking around here, and I don't know. That would probably be the first one. It's easy to get to, and it's pretty fun.
Can I sign up for that tour with you sometime?
Yeah, I think registration just closed, but luckily, you know a guy, so maybe we can squeeze.
There's a wild card spot for me.
Yeah.
All right. Well, best of luck to you, Calvin. Here's Zoe Dyke.
Hi, Calvin. Welcome back to Smuggler's Notch. Just a couple of quick questions for you. Actually, observation first. You're shooting great golf. You're throwing in aces and having huge, quote, field aces or throw-ins during tournament rounds. And you've been in the top 5 and podiuming pretty much this whole season. So from my point of view, it looks like your skills are sharp. Would you agree with that analogy or that definition?
Yeah, I mean, the game's feeling pretty good. Some weeks, different things feel better than others. But as a whole, I've definitely played really well this season. And, can't really complain with that.
Calvin, is this going to be the Worlds that you win?
Can't tell you for sure, but I'm certainly going to try.
Do you feel confident?
Yeah, I feel good coming into this week. As I was saying earlier, I've got a lot of practice in on both of these courses, so I'm feeling pretty comfortable and looking forward to competing.
All right. I don't have anything else for you. Thanks for joining us, and best of luck to you this entire week.
Thank you.
We'll be right back on the network.
Welcome back, everybody. Joined here now by Missy Gannon. Missy, it has been a heck of a season for you so far, and the thing that I think a lot of us have noticed is that your energy has just continued week after week. It seems like you've stayed very focused and achieved a couple of goals that you've made in previous seasons. How do you feel right now at this point?
I feel great. I know in previous interviews I've said how I've limited my practice rounds and really trying to conserve energy, and that was almost in preparation for this week in a sense, because I played more practice rounds than I have in a while this week specifically. So, and that's including doubles and mixed doubles. So, I was strategically conserving my energy throughout the year, and I hope that it'll pay off this week.
Well, this actually leads to a question I asked Kristin Tattar You just mentioned that this is a week you've been preparing for a while. I asked Kristin, for her first world title, how different was the feeling for that one as it is for the second? She said there was more of a raw hunger for that first world title. Do you feel that same raw hunger coming into this week?
Yeah, absolutely. I think just because of how consistent I've been, I feel like I have this bit of an edge, and I'm trying to use that in a positive way, and not get ahead of myself, but just know that I've got the skills, I've got it all. I just have to maintain, put it all together, stay patient, like I've said every tournament, just do what I do and try to get it done.
How has it been for you this week? Outside of the practice rounds, we're in Smuggler's Notch. You got your dogs, you got Tom out here with you. What have you guys been up to? Yeah,
it's been really busy, actually. We had to go down to New York, so like 5 hours away, to go to a wedding on Sunday. Stayed overnight there, so got back, late yesterday. And but we had gotten here late last week on Thursday, so we were able to get some practice rounds in. Again, participate in the mixed doubles and come back and get a couple more practice rounds in. So it's been very busy, but it's I love being here. It's always great to just look around and just smile and just be in awe of the beauty of this place.
They have made a few changes out here at both of the courses. How much more difficult do you feel like this place plays compared to last year?
I think it plays less difficult. I think that the Brewster Ridge course, there's been more changes than I would say Fox has, and I think it sets us up for. They're still. I don't know. They don't feel. A couple of the changes don't feel that different. So I think the game plan on those holes is pretty much the same, but a couple of the shorter tee pads, so that makes it more of a scoreable hole for some of those changes. And then Fox, it's all about just on Fox. It's like maintaining in the wind and just playing the wind well and staying in bounds. So it's a great mix between the two courses, and I'm looking to score hot.
Well, thank you for that, Missy. Here's Zoe Andike for just a few more.
Cool.
Hi, Missy,
Hello.
and welcome back to Smugs. You talked about the beauty of this place, and you've talked about how you got here early, traveled away for the wedding, and came back. So did you get what you feel like is the adequate amount of practice on each course?
Yeah, I would say so. I got just about 3 practice rounds on each course, so that's 6 practice rounds. It does include doubles, so it's a little bit different, but it's still more than I typically do for a normal event. But if, like I said, if there was any reason why I was conserving energy before, it was because of this week. So just a little bit more rehab, a little bit more taking care of my body, and just trying to balance out the extra practice with also the relaxation.
And Brian had already mentioned this, but I got to go back to it. This has been your most solid season of your career so far, and we know that you're seeking your first world title. But I want to go back to such an elite and important title in defending the Ledgestone Open. First of all, a lot of people out there already are saying that is like winning the World Championships with such a difference in the courses and it being a 4-round tournament. A lot of people feel like you do have the edge for this event. Talk about the confidence in defending that title and bringing that through into Worlds.
Yeah. I mean, being able to, I think the biggest thing I take away from that is being able to handle the pressure of defending, which is really hard to do, on, like you said, 2 courses that are very different from one another, and reminiscent of what we face here at Smugs. So it's still very different, but between like Ledgestone and this event. But I'm treating it as a separate event, right? It's different shots and all of that, but knowing that I can handle that type of pressure in a 4-round event like Ledgestone and be able to do it back-to-back definitely gives me some confidence in not only my physical stamina, my mental stamina, and my ability, like I said, to handle that kind of pressure.
And then just zooming in on both of the course changes, I heard you talk a little bit about it with Brian, but I'm thinking about how many times you've played out here at both of these courses. has very much changed as far as the practice plan and the execution, or even what's in your bag?
Yeah, I mean, my bag has definitely changed since the first time I came here, which was back in 2018. That was my first half a year on tour, and, you know, I don't think I made the cut, you know, way back then, but I've come here every year since I started touring. So, you know, it feels very similar in the sense to like Ledgestone. That was like an event that I had been going to since 2018. And, yeah, I'm trying to take those experiences and those memories and apply them and, learn something new about my game every time I practice these courses. So yeah, it's, totally different, since the first time I was here, but you know, I'm just so confident in my discs and my abilities, and I hope to be able to apply them well on these courses.
Well, good luck to you keeping the edge and keeping it cool. Here's Terry Miller with a couple more.
Thank you.
Hey, Missy.
Hi.
Often when we talk to players, this is a great time to get updates on injuries, fatigue, and physical components of their game. We don't really hear much of that from you.
Yeah.
So how are you feeling? Where are you at right now?
I feel great. You know, I've thankfully have not had any injuries. I definitely get sore and feel those types of things after long events, but again, I mean, that's just part of the game, and you know, being able to make sure I'm doing the things that I need to do after the rounds to give me the best possible longevity, even just from event to event, round to round, and just trying to take care of my body. And you know, it's hard to not want to be social and go do things, but also I understand the importance. I'm 34 years old. I'm not one of the young guns anymore, so I need to really pay attention to my body and be okay with being a little antisocial when I just need to relax. It's fine.
You've got a world title to claim. And,
right.
And someone who's claimed her first world title, Kristin Tattar, she was saying earlier how she doesn't look back or really reflect on previous performances. And then you, with your recent success, how do you manage your expectations of saying, hey, that was... Do you dig deep into the past and say, here's what I can lean into? Or do you say, this is a fresh slate, I need to start over?
It's a little bit of both. You know, I definitely don't want to think like, oh, you know, I'm so consistent, I'm going to come in here and just be able to do what I do. And, you know, well, I did say I could do what I do, but not just feel like I'm going to just smooth sail, skate through this week. I think that I take it as just a confidence boost, that I've been playing pretty well. And, you know, there's a lot of shots that we throw on all different kinds of courses out on the road that are very similar to shots that we throw here. So being able to lean on those experiences and basically coming up to a tee pad if the wind is different and being like, I know exactly what I got to do. I've done this before. I've seen this shot before. I know what my discs do. So just having that bit of extra confidence is never a bad thing in this sport, so I'll take it all day.
All right, my final one, and maybe it leans into the confidence question, though, is you played in the doubles, of course, Gannon Buhr being the name, but you played in, do you treat that as kind of fun and relaxing, or do you treat that as a legitimate practice round leading into the Worlds?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. You know, I try not to like take too much, feel too much pressure during doubles. For me, that's so like super fun, and I think Gannon was on the same page, but I think he definitely is wants to like take it down, which is fine. But you know, we had some great highlights, and I was kind of keep making that more of a practice round for me. But I had gotten some solid practice before that, so I knew what I was going to do. But again, it's just like having a good time out there and trying to play well, but also just, you know, taking it for what it is. It's doubles. It's a good day.
Love it, definitely. You can't have a bad day out here in Vermont, it sounds like. All right, everyone, that's Missy Gannon going to try and capture her first world title. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Welcome back, everybody. Joined here now by Gannon Buhr. Gannon's here in Vermont, ready to take down his first world title here at Smuggler's Notch. But first, I have to ask you a question, Gannon. Saw you eating an ice cream cone on the way here. Vermont seems to take a lot of pride in their ice cream. The Ben & Jerry's tour is about a half hour away if you want to take that. What are your thoughts on the Vermont ice cream?
Well, I've only had it once, and it was just a soft serve cone, so with vanilla sprinkles. So it was pretty solid, actually, though. You know, it was consistent. I'll give it like an 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10, not too bad.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the rest of your time spent here in Vermont. How early did you get here? How much practice have you put in? How does it look?
I got here, I think, Friday maybe. Probably Friday. And I think I've played 3 rounds at each course. I played, obviously, one apiece for doubles. And then I've also played kind of just some scoring rounds. So I'm kind of getting that good tournament feel in already, I guess. So I'm just hoping I can kind of feel comfortable out there on the course tomorrow and just start off hot.
You had a ridiculous highlight during the doubles, that absolute laser beam into the basket from 200. Have you ever done anything like that before in your life?
No, and the funny part was, Missy wasn't even that close. She was like circles edge, and I was like, we're not going to miss that anyway. And so I just was like, I'm going to pull up my Falcor, and I threw it as hard as not as hard as I could, but I threw it pretty hard. I threw like a good driver shot, and it was in the second left my hand pretty much, and it really never left the line of the basket, and it felt so cool because the basket just exploded.
Well, maybe you'll have to start putting super hard with drivers. That could be the next
I'll say, because my
level.
putts never stick anyway, so I might as well just throw them even harder.
Well, let's talk about how you feel out here on these courses. You got, I believe, 6th place here last year, and you missed, I believe, 6 Circle 1 putts that weekend, but you lost by 5, so the win was right there in your grasp. How does your game feel this week? How do you feel like your chances are?
Well, it's kind of been a theme this year of my game feels really bad in practice, and then I somehow win the tournament. I don't know. Hopefully I can keep that up because my game doesn't feel great right now. I don't know how that works or why it happens, but obviously it's been a goal of mine just to always develop consistency, kind of like what I had last year, but it's kind of just been hard to get back. I wasn't really throwing that well today, or really even this whole weekend so far. My putting feels a little bit off. Haven't really thrown too many forehands, so, everything's kind of like set up. Not great, but it all kind of just, nothing matters until the tournament happens, and I think I should be able to find a somewhat comfortable groove on the course, and my main goal is just to start off hot and stay in contention the whole way, not have to battle back, because that's kind of the mistake I made last year at Worlds, is I started off with a really rough round 1, and then just told myself I needed to shoot 12 down every single round to catch up and win, and then when I didn't do it, I just kept panicking and kind of just put me back. So just kind of play hole by hole and just get, my goal is probably to get like 2/3 of the birdies, and that'll give you easy 12 down a round if you just have bogey free. So
I want to ask you a question that I'm asking other players that are in contention to take the win down this week, and obviously you're one that a lot of people are talking about. Do you treat the World Championships any different than you treat, say, an Elite Series event on the Disc Golf Pro Tour? Is there more value being placed on it? Do you prepare a different way?
Obviously I got a little more practice rounds than I usually do at like a typical Pro Tour event. I think just the feeling of it, knowing it's such a big tournament, and it can really, it's a career change. It's a life-changing tournament if you're able to win it. So I definitely just working on keeping my mental game really solid and just like never giving up no matter what happens. So hopefully I can just kind of just treat it as if it was a Pro Tour, but I know it does have a little bit higher higher value in terms of what it can kind of do for you and what it means for your career.
Well, fantastic, Gannon. Good luck this week. Here's Terry Miller with a couple questions.
Hey, Gannon, I have a really simple one that I asked of Missy, actually, which is coming into the Worlds, there's extra events taking place in terms of distance and putting competitions and then the doubles. Do you take that seriously? And what does that mean to try and take down that doubles?
Yeah, well, doubles is a little interesting. It's always kind of tricky, actually, especially when you get to like the alternate shot for round 2. It feels like, a couple mess ups and you're pretty much out of it. So we kind of got to a place where we're not going to win. Ohn and Joel were just destroying the course, and we kind of just didn't even care where we finished, and we started going for everything. I think we ended up taking like 2 doubles in doubles, which is not good, obviously. So it was a really fun time, and hopefully come back next year and maybe get a win. But yeah, like, as for like the distance and the field events and stuff like that, I kind of just like takes me back to like my junior world days, where it's like one of those days I always look forward to, just to see how I compared against other players in the division. I didn't do too well in either one of those. Distance, I just wasn't able to get a good line. I kind of just like, my furthest shot was like a cut roller. So, you know, yeah, you got to wait next year. You wait a whole year to throw 5 shots, and then you don't throw one good and you kind of feel stupid. So, you know, hopefully next year I can put some more distance on and work on my angle control.
Would you have, if you could win, whether it's the doubles, the distance, or the putting, I'll give you those 3 options, which one would mean the most for you to win here at the Worlds as an extra game?
Ooh, that's a tough question. I think I want to say distance, just because it's cool to throw far, you know.
All right.
It's kind of like a little bit of a power move, I feel like.
All right, and then my final question would be, I know we opened with talking about sprinkles and ice cream, and you got me thinking about some other stuff, but what will be the one thing you want to check off your list this week while you're here? That's off the course.
Just anything?
Yeah, anything that you've either heard about or are looking forward to experience, something that's off the course.
Oh, boy. I don't know. I don't know if I have a good answer for that. We've been going to this there's like some like little waterfalls all around, you know, kind of around the area. So I know me and the boys have been going to this one just a couple miles down the road, and it's been really fun to hang out there. So yeah, I think I just want to enjoy my time here, because this is probably my favorite spot in the country that we come to. So just so beautiful out here. The courses are such a great mix of wooded and open. I think it's probably the best 2 we play on tour, other than, you know, maybe like Northwoods and Eureka Temp in Illinois for Ledgestone. But yeah, I mean, I'm just so excited to be here. It's 5 rounds, it's gonna be a marathon, so yeah, just gotta stay with it the whole time.
All right, well, we wish you the best of luck. If you're looking for a tour, talk to Kelvin Heimburg. We're getting them put together, and we can slot you in there. All right, everyone, that's Gannon Buhr. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the network. We are joined by Hailey King. And Hailey, welcome back to Smugs, a place you've played a few times.
Yeah, it's definitely been a minute. It's good to be back.
So I want to start off by asking you about your last 6 weeks to maybe 2 months. Can you talk about some of your travels and your training in order to be prepared for the World Championships?
Yeah, I mean, I've been trying to go back home as often as possible so I can get back to the practicing. And really, I just wake up at like 6 in the morning. My sister goes to work then, so, you know, she wakes me up. I get up, try to eat breakfast, putt in my backyard. If it's not too hot out, I'll go to Nevin. That's very close to the house. So, yeah, I'll go play around real quick, come back, eat lunch, putt more, and then, yeah, I mean, that's it on repeat for every single time I've been home. Yeah.
Okay. During some, I think it was interviews prior to a couple months ago now, but you had talked about some in the gym training routines. So I was curious if you had kept that up and if you had tapered down for the World Championships.
Yeah, I've definitely tapered down, but it's more because we've just had a lot more golf in this last little tour, whatever. So I've kind of just been slimming down just for that, not really for Worlds, but I'm still doing just push-ups, all that type of stuff. So.
And all right, let's talk about this tournament specifically. When did you arrive here, and how many practice rounds have you played?
I got in Friday, and I've done 2 rounds each day up until today. I just did 1 round, so I've gotten a lot of rounds out here.
And for those people out there that weren't watching, are you somebody that likes to compete in the fun or the extra activations in the putting, distance, and doubles, or did you kind of skip out on that this year?
I wanted to, but this year I decided to skip out. If I would have got here a couple days earlier, I probably would have.
All right, well, my final question is, can you give us on a scale of 1 to 10, or even in just your own words, where is your confidence? How does Hailey King feel about this World Championships?
I'm feeling pretty good. The last time I was here, I was still playing with other discs, so it's different to come back here with new shot selections, and I'm feeling pretty confident with those. Yeah.
Best of luck to you out there, and here's Brian with a couple more.
Hello, Hailey.
What up?
Got a couple questions for you. You just mentioned new shot shapes. You're seeing this course with a new bag. How different is it, and what shots are you leaning towards now, shape-wise?
I would say with a couple of the changes on the holes, it actually changed a lot of my shots. But at the same time, I'm still throwing the same 3 discs throughout the entire course, pretty much on Fox Run too. It doesn't change too much. I know it's open versus wooded, but I pretty much throw my discs all the same regardless.
You said you practiced a bunch at Nevin, which is a brutally wooded track for those of you watching who have not played there in Charlotte, North Carolina. How much can Nevin actually prepare you for Brewster Ridge? Are the shapes similar?
I would say the shapes are definitely similar, but they're definitely more tight at Nevin, and they're a lot shorter, so you have to hit your shots better out at Nevin than out here.
Well, you've won here before, and it's never easy to win out here at GMC, but now we play 5 rounds out here. What did you learn from winning at this course that you can carry into the World Championships here? What does it take to score out here?
I mean, for me, it's just don't give up. I know I'm going to score, so as long as I don't give up after 1 bad hole, I think it's still a chance, yeah.
You seem to always come alive at any kind of major championship. We saw you at the Champions Cup earlier this year throw some just phenomenal shots, and now here we are at the World Championships. Do you treat these tournaments differently? Do you give them more value mentally than other tournaments?
This year, no, but usually yes. And the reason why I say this year no is because I am focusing a lot more on my physical health than I have previously, so yeah.
I guess one last question for you. Just kind of a quick bag check. Any new discs coming in or out of the bag? What does the equipment setup look like compared to maybe where you were at the beginning of the year?
I'd say it's all the same besides 1 disc, and that would be I added the T-Bird 3 to the bag, and that's probably the best decision I ever could have made.
And why is that?
It flies similar to the Hawkeye, but I believe it's a little bit more stable, so me throwing how I always like to throw really hard, I can throw the T-Bird as hard as possible, and it flies similar to the Hawkeye for me.
Well, thank you for that. Thank you for the information. Good luck this week. We will see you out there.
Thank you. Cool.
Joining us now is 6-time world champ Paul McBeth. And Paul, I feel like everybody is here for one and only one question, which is, how do you feel? How's your arm, your shoulder?
It's good. It's beautiful out here. It's warm. It's nice. Can't complain. Throwing the disc. It's been over a month since I've played a tournament, so it feels good to be out here. It's exciting, and it's hard to keep me off the course right now.
Okay, I'm not going to let you get off too easily here. When you say it's good, give us a percentage, 1 to 10. How do you feel physically in terms of your shoulder?
Good enough to throw. These courses aren't like distance driver courses, so it's been a good one to come back to. A lot of fairways, a lot of mids. And then on the holes where you need to throw distance drivers, I'm not throwing 100% or 90% or whatever. So it's solid. I couldn't ask for a better tournament to come back to.
Well, and then that maybe begs the next question, which is it when you're throwing hard, is that when you either find recurring pain or a possible re-injury? Is it with the hardest shots in terms of, yeah?
I mean, I could literally just move my shoulder like this and it hurts. So,
okay.
I mean, you can only imagine throwing a disc. But it's, it's the Worlds. So I'm going to be here playing.
Forehand or backhand, which one feels either better or worse in terms of making an attempt?
Honestly, putting. Probably putting.
Okay, so is that because it's an entirely different motion?
Mm-hmm.
It's more of the up and down as opposed to.
Yep. But no, I mean, it's not something that I'm going to let affect me this weekend. I mean, I got 18 tee shots to throw each day, and hopefully less than that on the putting green. So I should be fine to get through the days.
The world knows you as someone who battles, and you have a warrior-like mentality, but there has to also be some breaking point in your mind. Have you thought about where that would be in terms of your pain level in order for you to possibly withdraw?
I think that was at the European Open earlier this year. And I'm just happy to be out here playing. I got to sit on the sidelines. I didn't watch any of the tournaments. I was there at the tournaments, but I didn't want to watch because it wasn't too fun to sit on the sidelines and watch. I was helping there were two of Discraft's biggest events, with the Ledgestone and D-Glow. So I just helped out, helped bend, hung out and mingled with fans. So I didn't want to watch any of it because it wasn't fun to sit there.
What does your daily routine consist of in terms of, the physical preparations for yourself?
Yeah, it's been like a PT for 3 or 4 times a week, depending, like every other day. And then up until pretty much this week, then it was less on that, more on throwing. So it's been 2 full days of throwing, and the rest was like 30-40%. So I've walked the course many times. I think that was the hardest part, was getting that endurance of walking the courses. Like walking and running is fine, but it's different when you're on the course, going up and down the hills and all that stuff. So, 2 full days of practice, and then just going out and seeing the new changes in the holes. So I'll head out and go throw maybe 5 holes on Fox right after this.
And then for the rest of your season, obviously, there's been an announcement. Congratulations again on a new baby coming into your lives for you and Hannah. Does this weekend kind of dictate in terms of your arm and how you feel? Will this dictate what the rest of your season and play looks like?
This is probably my last tournament of the year. Mm-hmm.
Regardless of how you feel?
Yes.
Okay. All right, Paul. Well, we wish you the best of luck, and Brian Earhart's got something for you.
Cool.
How's it going, Paul?
Not too bad.
A couple questions for you. Number one, are you going to have a caddy this week, carry your bag and ease the load, so to speak?
Yeah, so I do have a caddy this week. Normally be John Tompkins, but he's had some family issues that he has to stay back. But luckily for me, I got a bigger caddy this week with Jeff Corns. He's going to be right there bodyguarding for me. So
perfect. Multiple uses for a versatile caddy. Another question I have for you. I've talked to you a lot about longevity and how you've molded your play style around, when certain situations like this arise, you have options to choose from. How much are you down-tempoing the speed and then speeding up on the disc and understability-wise?
I think this course is kind of set up for that, where you're kind of down-tempoing a lot of the shots, whether it's the upshot or some of the tee shots, and it's more like a speed control than just pure power. Fox Run has a few more than Brewster, but surprisingly not as many as you would think. I I was thinking on my way here how many distance drivers that truly throw off the tee pad, and I would say it's like less than 5 between the two courses. A lot of fairway drivers, and Onyx is kind of on that border 10-speed kind of spot, but surprisingly not as many as most would expect.
I guess maybe to get more specific, and this is just for my curiosity, are there any situations where you'd normally throw a mid-range that maybe you club up to a fairway and shorten up on it a bit?
None that really come to mind. And I think the ones that kind of would be are the ones that kind of change, the holes that changed. You know, have different, like 18 is kind of between a fairway and a mid, but now it's completely a driver. And the other hole 3 that changed, like that was one that was kind of a putter mid, now it's definitely a fairway, if not a distance driver, just to kind of crest over that hill. So luckily for me, those are ones that I've had to put some extra time into anyways to try to figure out which disc. So it's kind of not much of I guess as much of a question anymore for me.
Well, then one last question I have for you. Hole number 8 here at Brewster. How much respect do you have to give that hole? Is there an opportunity to get up there for an eagle look? Is that even in the cards?
No, not a chance. Not a chance. I don't think anyone can get up there. Like, I mean, no, I don't think so. I mean, obviously people can throw it in, but I mean, if you birdie that hole, what do we play this course twice? If you birdie it both times, you're taking strokes on pretty much everyone in the field, because that one, if you get off the fairway, it can turn to a bogey, if not double, really quickly.
Okay, well, thank you for that clarity. Here's Zoe Endike for a couple more.
Welcome back to Smugs.
Thank you.
Super happy to have you here and healthy enough to be focused on and playing the tournament, Paul. And for those people that have been out there sleeping for the last 11 years, you have finished either first or second at every World Championship since 2012. So can you kind of zoom out and give us just a couple of words on the consistency, what it takes to be that consistent? I mean, this is a record that has not even been, nobody's come close to that kind of consistency over a decade.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I feel like with the Worlds, it's always been more rounds than most tournaments, and I think that just falls in my favor. I feel like as far as a consistency standpoint, through the years, I've been the most consistent player on tour, and I think that just really shows at the Worlds. We're down to 5 rounds now, but when I won my first Worlds, I think it was 7, maybe a semis, and a final 9. So the more holes, the better for me. So if they want to move it back, that's fine with me. I'll take 7 rounds.
And then to kind of talking about the balance throughout the year and the season and your training, do you think that you have kind of the experience and the edge up on these newer players, knowing when to go full throttle and then pull back?
I think that's the difference between Worlds is you kind of can go full throttle the whole time. Obviously, weather becomes a factor. I think we might get some rain tomorrow, so that might, and it's the first round, so you might want to, get out the gates well, but you don't want to fall too far behind. And you can never win it round 1, so you just want to stay on pace and stay as close as possible. But also when you do fall at that pace, you can't stress, and you can't just try to go for broke that early. So it's the long game for sure, with it being 5 rounds, but also, man, this is the week to bring it all 5 rounds and bring your A game. And I think it's a little different because sometimes you see random people win. It might be a 3-rounder or something like that, and someone might just be hot that weekend. I think with the 5 rounds, it takes a little bit more.
All right, well, I'd like to zoom out for my last couple of questions and talk about just the idea of where the foundation, the PMF Foundation, has really gotten their ground underneath them, had a lot of experiences and a lot of courses built. And we think about Worlds this weekend and 13 countries being represented. Is there kind of a tie together you can bring to the public about why the foundation was created, and maybe if they took the experience all the way through to the World Championships, what is it that your goals are?
I feel like there might even be 2 more countries that aren't actually represented, because it just goes by PDGA addresses now. So if it's actually, nations that are born, I think it actually shows more. 2 players specifically come to mind, like Ohn and I think Freddie Mesa's playing. So, there's more countries represented than the number that it says. But I just think that's going to be continued growth. I played a tournament in Europe earlier this year that had 23 countries represented. I know it's a little bit smaller and they have the possibility there, but like that's just showing the growth that disc golf is in 23 countries, specifically in Europe. So hope to continue to see that growth. And man, those are like you see the Olympics and stuff, and you see things like that where all these nations are represented. Hopefully disc golf can get there soon too.
And this is kind of a popular one that I've got to throw out there from the fans. Do you think that the World Championships will move over to a European country potentially as early as 2025 or very soon?
I think it could go anywhere. I don't think it has to be just Europe. I mean, I think it could go anywhere. It's really the courses and the attraction. I know Europe's probably the easiest one right now for it to go to because they do have established major there and with so many countries there. So I don't think it needs to be just here in the U.S. So.
All right, now this is my last question and kind of a fun one. Out of the 6 world titles that you've won, is there one that shines a little bit brighter to you, or is there one specific experience that kind of holds that top spot in your heart?
It's always hard not to just like zoom right into what James did to me in 2021. But last year was definitely an exciting one, coming down and the redemption story of that and battling against Goose. And so last year is a real sweet one, but in my mind it always goes to that one that James got. So.
Well, thank you so much for sharing. Best of luck to you this weekend. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
We'll be right back on the network.
Welcome back, everybody. Joined here now by two-time world champion Catrina Allen. Katrina, welcome to Vermont.
Thank you.
How long ago did you get here? How has prep been going for you? Give us the overview.
Got here the Wednesday before, so I guess a week before the event starts. Just playing one practice round a day and just trying to get a game plan.
Now, how much of the day is spent thinking about disc golf when you're here for a world championship? Is it just, the 4 or 5 hours you're spending practicing? Or because it's the major championship, do you spend kind of all day thinking about it?
No, I try not to. I know it's really hard, and I know I've over-practiced before in past years, and so trying to find the balance of being prepared but not wearing yourself out physically, mentally, and honestly, it's been raining a lot, so I found some puzzles at a local shop, or like a gift shop in Jeffersonville, and watching some crime documentaries and trying not to think about disc golf for those hours.
That sounds actually kind of nice.
Yeah.
I saw Austin have some good performances recently as well. I guess I want to ask, just the two of you together, traveling together, how has it been maybe game planning or talking about the tournament together this week?
Yeah, I mean, we always, it's normally me and Austin, or me, Austin, and Chris. And I guess just kind of helping each other out, seeing what's worth risk rewards, or, there's some new holes, how to attack those. But yeah, definitely helping each other out.
Talk about the risk reward, actually, some of these new holes. Do you feel like there's any opportunities to bite a little bit more than previous holes, or do you feel like it's still kind of a steady game plan out there?
No, because I don't think, I don't know, I guess like hole 1, I'm still going to just try to get to the corner and throw a sidearm, and then trying to think of some of the changes. You might have to help me. Then the only one I think about are like, what is the par 5 on Fox Run and on Brewster?
Yeah, that's a big one on Brewster, yeah.
Yeah, so.
Just nothing in particular changing with the game plan in regards to aggression is what you're saying?
No. Yeah.
Well, thank you for that. Here's actually Zoe Andike for a few more.
Welcome back to Smuggler's Notch, Kat. You've had some really big successes here, but I want to talk about how you've had 2 world championships. You've been at the top of the entire division, and you have been leading in points at many different times in your career. We've heard in recent interviews that you've had a little bit of things to work through, and I want to ask how you feel coming into this week personally and where the confidence level is at.
I guess I had a friend, I think it was AB, who goes, like we were talking after the tournament last week. We all went out on the boat for an evening ride, big crew, and I was like thankful to be around friends after like what seems like eternity of bad play, but only I guess 3 weeks. And he was kind of like, it's almost just funny because you've played good for 13 straight years. Like, everyone's only making a big deal because you never play bad. And so I guess I'm kind of trying to, I don't know, find a swing that I like, that I can be confident with on the course, and then just accepting where my swing is and trying not too hard to think swing thoughts or results on the course. And then just realize, I think Austin said it best, he's like, you may not like your swing, but the confident cat you were at Preserve beats the best player in the world. So you can obsess over your swing if you want, but confident cat beats everybody at their best. So that was kind of awesome.
That really ties together kind of a 2-part next question I have. So you are the one that has taken Kristin down during an Elite Series this season. You do have 2 world titles, and so many people believe in that swing and believe in that stroke. Yeah. And I'm not sure how much you've been on social media or if you've been ignoring it, but does it feel good to get that kind of love and that kind of support from so many people around the world?
Yeah, actually I have. It was, to be honest, it was when the Disc Golf Pro Tour announced the United Series. I was devastated, and I did not want to just hear about it, to be honest. I also think that has been a huge factor. I feel like a loss as someone who fought so hard for fairness. But anyways, yeah, I have not been on social media, but people have been reaching out like, are you okay? What can we pray for you? What's going on? And it's so hard to be like, I know I'm sucking, but it's not a lack of effort. Like, nothing crazy has happened, just probably shouldn't be fixing my swing in the middle of the season, but I think I have 2 more years after this season of my contract, and I'm just not happy with mediocre golf. I know what I'm capable of. I step up, and like we've talked before, I'm like, oh, I know this shot. It's this disc on this height. And then it's just like time after time, I can't seem to get there. My timing's off, and I would rather go through this struggle and see what I can become. Even if it's the rest of the season, that's just not great golf. I have a whole off season to put into it, and yeah, I'm willing to take that risk, and I'm sure there's a lot of other things I can learn through this struggle.
Well, my final question is just if you feel like sharing, does Catrina Allen visualize hoisting that 3-time trophy? Do you picture 3X next to your name?
I mean, of course, like I would be silly not to think, that I'm capable. And I'll just have to do my best to be in the moment this weekend. I think something that can be really difficult on both of these courses is throwing it into the circle, hitting a tree and rolling OB or kick, and just, I think I'm really going to have to accept results and not be hard on myself when I throw the simplest shot. Maybe out of bounds or not how I want, and just accept and move on. So, yeah.
Best of luck to you this week.
You.
And here's Terry Miller.
Hey, Kat.
Hey.
Yourself, like Ricky Wysocki, kind of helped discover this place, I feel like.
Yeah.
And then you had a ton of success while you were here.
Yeah.
Like, you were destroying everything. Every time you came here, you won. What were some of the things you saw early on and in Smuggler's Notch, in the facility, in the environment?
Well, first of all, we got to stay at the beautiful resort, got here, and I think the first 2 times we came, it was fall. So it's already beautiful here, but then when the orange and the red and the yellow are on the mountains and all over, it beautiful, the fall festival. And then what it reminds me of, and it's kind of funny because I feel like I've grown me and Jeff have grown as good friends, but is the Ledgestone. Like, I used to also play that before when it was just like an A tier. And there was, I think it was the first year it was a disc golf pro tour. I think in my speech I told Nate, thanks for inviting all these people to my honeypot. And that's how I feel about this. It was like a mini vacation. You could come up here, make some great money, play beautiful courses, enjoy Vermont. I had never been to Vermont, and then enjoy the fall festival. And it was like disc golf but a vacation, and now it's like the most stressful tournament ever every year.
And now, because it's grown, because of those success, everyone is here, and as you said, it's become more stressful and more difficult to get those wins, but certainly something we saw early. Did you ever envision, did you have those early conversations with a Jeff or the rest of the crew about what this place could ultimately turn into?
No, but obviously you can just see it, right? Like, to have a beautiful property with 2 courses that really, an open and a wooded course. So, yeah.
All right. Well, Kat, we wish you the best of luck. She's going after her 3rd world title. We'll be right back on the network.
Thank you.
Welcome back. Joined here now by Isaac Robinson. Isaac, it has been a huge season for not only yourself, but also your brother Ezra. Last week, we watched him win his first Disc Golf Pro Tour event in Rochester, averaging over 1070 golf. Were you watching back home, and were you cheering him on the whole time?
Oh, yeah. I was out playing a practice round on Fox, and we had DGN on the phone, and I think I got pretty much every shot.
Now, I have plenty of questions for you, but it was just such a special moment to see him take down the event after seeing you have so much success early on. What have you seen in his progression that has gotten him to that point?
Yeah, I've just seen like a huge confidence boost in the way he plays and the way he approaches the course. He was pretty nervous to start the year, and now he's found a rhythm, he's found a groove, and it seems to be working pretty well for him.
Does it kind of fire you up to make sure that you're still the top dog in the Brotherhood?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So how's that practice been this week? Have you been playing with Ezra every round, and how have you guys been kind of complimenting each other in regards to game plan?
Yeah, so we played a couple holes today, but up until that point we hadn't really played any holes together. I think the practice rounds feel great. They, the changes are a little bit more challenging on Brewster, and I think maybe a little easier on Fox. So courses complement each other very well. But yeah, practice rounds are feeling good.
I believe when you look at the statistics, last year you had an incredible battle. I know Ricky Wysocki came out on top, but I believe you and him both putted over 50% from C2 that weekend, which is incredible. I guess I want to ask you about the long putting. You still had a great season from Circle 2. How often are you actually practicing 50-footers?
Yeah, not too often. The past couple of evenings I've gone out and I've practiced Circle 2 and trying to get that step putt back. For some reason, it's just disappeared this week. So I've been putting a little more effort into Circle 1 and Circle 2 putting this week. But I practice it probably once or twice a week when I practice putting. So, 15, 20 minutes every other day or so. But yeah, mostly just trying to keep the Circle 1. Circle 1 is what really, really matters, and so just trying to stay as consistent as possible from there.
Talk about your chances out here. Talk about how you feel confidence-wise going into the week. I think a lot of people are putting you up there in their pick 6, so how do you feel?
Yeah, I'm feeling really good. These courses are something I think I play them very well. They suit my type of golf. There's not too many distance holes. It's more hitting your lines, hitting your landing zones. So I'm really, practice rounds have been feeling really, really good, and I went out today and I kind of spot practiced a couple shots here on Brewster and a couple shots on Fox, and I'm feeling really confident with where my discs are and what I'm throwing.
I talked to you, I talked to Gannon, I talked to Gavin Babcock throughout the year, and none of you guys seem stressed or burnt out in any way. Are you guys just good actors, or is there something to that group of people you guys are traveling with?
Yeah, I think, once we get off the course, we just hang out with each other and we just have a blast. So it takes a lot of the grind feeling off. You're just kind of, once you're off the course, you're just hanging with your friends, and it just relaxes you a lot. But I'm definitely feeling a little bit burnt out. I'm very excited for these next couple events. And the fact that we only have 3 or 4 is very exciting as well.
Well, talk about the courses. Does the enjoyment of playing these 2 tracks maybe lessen some of that burnout feel?
Yes, yeah. Tournaments I was looking forward to Idlewild, looking forward to here, and then USDGC. Those are the bright spots that I'm really looking forward to. So yeah, this is probably my favorite place to play on tour, and so just excited to be here.
Well, good luck this week. Here's Zoe Andike for just a couple more.
Hello, Isaac.
Hello.
And welcome back to one of your favorite places to play. I was getting ready to start my questions with the fact that you had such good success last year at GMC.
Mm-hmm.
What is that like to come back, one of your favorite places? You've been very successful. Are there expectations that you have or goals that you've set for yourself for this week of Worlds?
Yeah. I'm trying not to go in with too much expectations, but I definitely have goals, and one of those is to take this thing down. I'm sure a lot of people have that goal, but I'm excited to play here, and like I said, I love these courses. I love the area too, just the mountains and the waterfalls and the swimming and just everything about it is just perfect.
All right, well, I want to talk about something really special that just happened, about a week ago, if I'm right, the archive.
Mm-hmm.
So it came out. What was the process behind creating it, and will you be throwing it all week?
Yeah, so the archive is my new signature mid, and Prodigy, they designed a couple molds and they sent them to me to test and to get my feedback on them, and I was like, this one feels amazing. This is exactly what I want a mid to fly like, and mids are a big part of my game, especially out here. I think I'm throwing a mid off of 70% of the holes out here. So I wanted a mid I could trust, and Archive is just that. And as far as working it into my bag, it's not quite made my bag yet, just because we're in the middle of a season. I have some mids that I rely on very heavily, and I know the specific flight of each one. So the Archive, I'm definitely putting the field work in, and it'll be in my bag next year for sure.
And thanks for being so honest to share that. It seems crazy to be putting a brand new disc in the week before Worlds. So really appreciate the honesty there and talking about what it is you were looking for. But talk about that feeling with the sponsor wanting to put your name on a disc. Was that a bucket lister for you? Yeah,
for sure. It's something I hadn't really thought of happening, but having my name on a disc that I've worked with Prodigy to make, it's very exciting. And I've gotten just hundreds of messages, people tagging me in the posts, messaging me just how much they like it, and so I'm glad it's a disc that people love, and I think it'll just continue to grow in popularity, and I'm very, very excited to have it here.
All right, my last question for you. I don't think I've heard anyone ask this actually during the whole press conference. What is that personal mantra that you're going to repeat to yourself throughout this week to find yourself on top?
Man, I'm just one shot at a time. that's what worked at Champions Cup. It's worked. It's going to work here, and I'm just going to play each hole to the best of my ability, just one shot at a time.
One at a time. Best of luck to you. Here's Terry Miller.
What's up?
One shot at a time.
One shot at a time.
I like it. Question came in from another source asking, what is it like to play with some of your good friends, especially in the high pressure packed moments?
Mm-hmm.
You know, Idlewild, for instance, comes to mind, playing with Gannon, so on and so forth. What is that like?
Yeah, it's very fun. We're very competitive at the same time, so it's very it can be frustrating. I know at Idlewild it was like Gannon kept hitting circle 2 putts, and it was just like, oh, just like a kick to the stomach. But
you know, you did that last year to everyone else, right?
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
So everybody,
okay,
you know, it's give and take, I guess. But yeah, so it's very fun, but it's a little scary because I know what these guys are capable of, and I know that playing against them it's going to be very challenging at points. So,
and I'm not going to put Gannon in this category just yet, maybe, or maybe you will. When you were getting into golf and you were thinking about some of the greats, the icons of the game, the legends, Hall of Famers, whomever, outside of your dad and your brother, maybe, who are some people you looked at and you thought about emulating or admiring?
Yeah, I think growing up, I loved watching like Ricky Wysocki play, and of course Paul McBeth. You know, kind of the two obvious answers. But there's something I really liked about Ricky being a younger guy and just kind of going out and just killing. You know, when I was younger, he had won his first 2 worlds, and so he was kind of the big thing at like that time, and so it was really cool just to see him win and to see the battles he had with Paul,
including one of those worlds winning in your home state.
Yes, I got to watch that. Yeah,
were you there in the gallery for
absolutely.
That? Wow.
Yep.
What a moment. Well, this week you're looking to make it a moment of your own. We wish you the best of luck, everyone. That's Isaac Robinson. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. Joined here now by another major champion, Corey Ellis. Corey, we're back in Vermont. It seems like everybody loves playing here. Do you feel the same way?
Oh, absolutely. This is disc golf paradise.
What about it is disc golf paradise? Talk about the shots, talk about the shapes. What does it demand of you out here?
I think it demands the complete package. You got to be able to hit a gap and place your disc in the right spot and throw your upshots, make your putts. It's there's can be some tricky greens and some tricky ground play, as well as some tight OB at times. So I think it's just got it all.
So stimulating on many levels. It makes you bring the whole package, you're saying. So with that, we have to ask the obvious question: how are you feeling? You had a weird wrist injury. Might have been inflammation, might have been something else. But right after you win the major title, you come down with that. How are you doing?
I feel 100% great. Yep, everything is good to go. I'm excited to be throwing frisbees again. It felt like a piece of me was missing, not being out on the course.
How long is the longest stretch of time that you've gone without playing disc golf? Was this one of the longest?
I think it was the longest since I was like 12 years old. Yeah, it was like I've usually played at least within 2 weeks, and this was like a little over 3. So it just didn't feel right not playing.
Well, with that said, how early did you get here? How much prep have you put in?
Not as much as I would have liked to, but I wanted to maximize the time I gave myself to heal. Mm-hmm. So we got here on Friday, and it was raining, and I planned on playing that evening. So No, I'm sorry. We got here on Thursday. Yeah, but not as much time as I would have liked to play. But I feel good about the courses. They're pretty self-explanatory. You know, you got to get off the tee. You got to throw it in bounds.
It sounds enjoyable. It sounds like you're hungry and excited to get back out here. I want to ask you a question about the major title you took down this year. I mean, it's chaos no matter how you spin it out there at the European Open, and you lasted 4 rounds out there and won the major championship. What do you feel like you can take away from that win into this week? What have you learned from that experience?
Be patient. I think that's the biggest thing. Don't force anything. Stick to your game plan and trust yourself.
Question about something you just said, actually. I feel like don't force anything is one of the hardest things that any disc golfer has to tell themselves. How long has it taken you to really internalize that as real advice for yourself?
I think it's still a work in progress. I wouldn't say that I've completed that. You know, so sometimes you get in your own way, and you have to just really think about the shot that is in front of you and execute that. So,
talk about the practice rounds that you do have out here this week. Do you keep score? Are you just looking at individual holes? Do you feel like there's any more game planning you have to do?
I never keep score in practice. I feel like it's not going to really help you because you're just trying to come up with your game plan and execute your shots. And I think that I'm pretty much ready. I'm actually going to go finish 14 through 18. I was playing with Dan Hastings, and we just wanted to finish our round after this, and I feel ready. I'm ready to go.
Well, it feels like Vermont is Discraft country because of their involvement with the GMC, and now Discraft still comes out here and supports the players a ton. And like you said, you just played with Dan Hastings, another Discraft player. There's a lot of Discraft people out here. How does it feel to have the big support from not only the administrative side of the company, but also all the players out here?
Oh man, Discraft is just a big family. I mean, even yourself, you know, you're part of the Discraft family, and you know, I feel like we're pretty good friends, and that's how it is with everybody, you know. Maybe not the best of friends with everybody, but that's just, it's hard to be friends with everybody out here, you know. Like, there's just only so much time you have.
Yeah.
But it's just a big family, man, and it's awesome to feel that way.
Well, good luck this week, Corey. Here's Terry Miller.
Hey, Terry.
Hey, Corey. How you doing?
Pretty good.
Good. I'm going to ask you a similar question that we wrapped up with Isaac, and just who are some of the players, you know, in terms of the legacy and in terms of who we've seen win Worlds as you were coming up? Was there anyone that you looked up to or even idolized?
I would say Paul and Ricky for sure. I mean, I was still playing, you know, at that time, but just watching them dominate the game, like, it was either one of them winning. If we're like, Nate Doss was also always in the top, he was always top 3, and it's just there's people like that. Barry Schultz also. Barry's played quite a few rounds with him over the years. I've never got to play around with Kenny. Hopefully, you know, that we can get that worked out sometime, maybe in the off season or something. But those guys for sure.
What does it feel like now to come to an event like this and know that obviously you're a formidable competitor to them? You could be crushing them. You could be hoisting the trophy yourself. Guys that you watched lift these world title trophies ahead of you, now you're right here to ruin their day. And make your own, of course.
Yeah, it's an amazing feeling. You know, it's a bit of accomplishment. Just know that like with the European Open, I've done it. I proved it to myself that I've made this dream a reality, and it's just surreal to be in the situation.
And my last one's a really easy one, which is, what is something you'll take in as part of being in Vermont this week, on or off the course, or something else that you're looking forward to that maybe isn't competitively driven?
I think just enjoying being out here in nature. Like, this place is, I think, unique to what we experience on tour, and just enjoy being here. Just overall, just besides the disc golf, being out here on the course, getting to just be in Vermont and live this dream, it's awesome.
Corey Ellis is looking to soak it all in, and rightfully so. We wish you the best of luck. We'll be right back.
Thanks, Terry.
Welcome back. Joining us now is Doug Bjerkaas of the PDGA. Doug, man, the memories just flow in immediately when I see your face, when we talked to your daughter earlier, just a few hundred feet away, hole 18. Relive that moment for us, just for a moment. Take off your PDGA hat and put on your dad hat for a moment.
Yeah, that's where I wear it backwards.
There it is.
As soon as we got here earlier this week and we turned that corner by hole 18, it just all came back, and it was an exciting weekend for us to see her and, just play so well. And this place is a very special place in both my wife, myself. I mean, we were all here with her, and it's by far the greatest disc golf memory I have, for sure.
Well, and if Paige goes on to win another Worlds, you'll be here present. You won't be on the bag, but you will be here present.
Yeah, and I wasn't on the bag. I was actually UDisc scoring the entire.
That's right, because Noemi
was on the bag. So, but no, I will be here, and we'll be watching from a distance. But in my new role, I got other fish to fry.
All right, and speaking of that role with the PDGAs, you have that hat on now. We're here. It's a major. We've been here for previous majors, and majors are obviously key elements to the PDGA and what the PDGA does. They're one of many. But how does a major arrive at any given facility? What's part of that process?
That's a great question. We all of our majors go up for bid. The majors that aren't, the USDGC doesn't go up for bid, things like that, but all of our world championships, Tim Selinsky, the U.S. Women's Disc Golf Championship, those all go up for bid every year. In fact, we're in the bid cycle right now where local disc golf communities as well as cities and municipalities are preparing bids that are due on November 1st, and they're going to put in their best case to why they should be the host of a major tournament. And in fact, I'd encourage anybody that's listening to check out PDGA.com, and you can read all about that bid process. And maybe you're part of a local disc golf scene that wants to run a major, or you're part of a group of courses that are super courses for majors. And it's great that that's how it works. And in fact, this major was bid on by Jeff Spring and his awesome local organizing committee here in Vermont at Smugs to host it again. And I think it was 5 years. Well, we just talked about that. It was 5 years ago, and it's back here. And I'd encourage everyone to check that out. And we need more people to bid on majors.
Well, and that was going to be my follow-up. So there's such a misconception is people think they just are just handed out to any hand-picked given favorite of the PDGAs, when really it has to start with submitting the bid. You have to put it together and have capable people to do so. And there's even a checklist for that now, right?
There absolutely is. And yes, you're correct. Some years the PDGA doesn't have a bid for a particular major. And that's when some of the usual suspects that have run majors in the past will often run majors. But ideally, we'd have multiple bids for every single major. And and we are looking for some experience. We're not going to award a major to somebody that's never run a tournament. If someone is interested in one day, maybe 5 years from now, they're thinking, I'd love to run a major. Man, run a C tier, and then run some B tiers, and then run an A tier, and then volunteer at some of these big events, and really get ingrained in what's going on with tournament disc golf. And that's the first key for somebody that wants to be on the tournament side. A major, though, is not just the disc golf. There's the event itself, and that's where working with a community like here, Smuggler's Notch, the resort is really invested in this event. Sometimes having a partner like that focuses on all the non-disc golf stuff allows the disc golf stuff to be paid attention to by someone that really knows what's going on. So I've found that the best bids are where you've got a community that's behind it, and you've got disc golfers that are behind it, seasoned disc golfers that have run tournaments.
And to follow that up, the PDGA shows up in full force and then some, especially at our largest events. Can you kind of just, at least high level, tell us who's here and what the support looks like from a PDGA's perspective this week?
Yeah, the entire O&L team, the operations and logistics team, is here, led by Jeff Jacqua, the competition director of the PDGA, Patrick Graziani, Rebecca Duffy, Robert Leonard are all here. We've got media and marketing folks here. We've got some other folks on the team. We've got Bill Newman. Many people know Bill. He's a contract marshal that comes to majors and works those. Andy Rothschild from our support and training team is here. This is the biggest event of the year for us by far. Now we have 10 other majors that are all incredibly important, but this is the big one. This is the one that most people are watching. This is the one that gets the most national attention and international attention for that matter. So, we got a lot of people on the ground, mostly serving as marshals, supporting the tournament with any logistical stuff we can. We've been helping the team set up assets over the last couple days. It really is a team and a joint effort between the PDGA and the local organizing committee to put something on like this. And if our expectation is that it's going to be the best event in the world, we need to bring our entire team here. It's not just going to be me showing up, that's for sure.
Well, you just hit on something about international attention, and clearly the world has been clamoring for years that we need another world championship that's outside of the U.S. Of course, we were in Canada a few decades ago, but they're clamoring, and we talked about it with Paul McBeth. What would be your insight as to how and when we might see an international world championship take place?
Personally speaking, I think that as our sport becomes more global, we need an international world championship, and we need it sooner than later. Europe seems to be the best place for that at this particular time, but I'm hoping in my lifetime I'm visiting world championships in South America or Central America and all over the world. I mean, we want to be a global sport, and we are a global sport, but we need to move some of our majors and spread those out. We have the European Open, obviously, which is a world-class major, and I would expect sooner than later we'd have something in Europe.
All right. What would you consider success at the end of this week?
That's a great question. Success would be that the rain is only here tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Let's start with the weather. And that's the only day that it looks like it's going to be here. And maybe if we all do enough rain dances and pray hard enough, it won't be here tomorrow. But that would be number one. And then the World Championships, it used to be, I know, I ran my first World Championship in 2016, and it was about the play, which is the most important. The competition is by far the most important. But at that point, we didn't have paid spectators. Media wasn't quite what it is. So World Championships now have a lot of different stakeholders and audiences that have to be taken care of. And so I would say success is that the people on the ground spectating are happy and satisfied and see a great show. The people at home on their mobile phones or their laptops or their TVs are in for a great show. That the players appreciate the courses and that there aren't issues on the course or the way rules are communicated. I mean, there's a laundry list of things that we got to keep on top of. And if we can get through this event without any big issues and everyone looks back at it and goes, man, that was an awesome World Championship, which I'm hoping and I'm confident they will, it'll be a success.
All right, one final opportunity for you. Anything you want to share with the world, anything I didn't ask you about, anything you'd like to communicate with our membership or maybe potential members at large, anything you'd like to share with everyone?
Yeah, I would like to encourage as many people watching, especially PDGA members that are getting active in their communities, to try working on a tournament. Volunteer at a local tournament, try to run a C-tier, volunteer to be the tag master at a tag match or at a league night or something like that. We are, as a sport, we are growing, and in order to keep that growth going, we also need to continue to grow our tournament directors. And in fact, the PDGA is working on an initiative right now to develop an entire TD training program. Really excited that the first deliverables on that are starting to show themselves, and I would expect that within the next year people will see that. But get out there and run an event. Ask somebody that is a tournament director, hey, how can I help? And get started as a volunteer. Shoot, it could just be spotting at a local tournament, but we need more people that can run events.
Well, if anyone runs an event half as good as you did, then we'll all be in good hands. So we appreciate it, Doug. And I think with that, we're going to close it out here. This has been your 2023 Pro Worlds press conference, which is, of course, our Pro Worlds brought to us by our friends at L.L.Bean. That's Doug Bjerkaas. And from the rest of the Disc Golf Network team, we'll see you guys tomorrow morning.